move on a $5 stock in your favor not a good thing? I'll tell you when. I'll tell you when it's not a good thing.
Oh, man.
A, when you didn't get full size, but that's okay. But B, when you have a resting order out and it tags right before this happens. So every now it just be like that on QSR. Like I was short this thing the whole time. And then I had a bid out in front of 450 and I had pretty much no chance to cancel that bid and end up with like 10% of my size when it halts to the downside. It's a little frustrating. Now, if you're able to, and it's obviously a big if you're ever able to in a situation like this and you see it starting to go on a flat bottom break, what you generally want to do is cancel that bid, right? But once it's already happened, it's just make sure you're not on the bid when it's cascading. I punched out on the halt on QSI because I didn't really know what was going on. I really didn't have much of anything left. So some of these names are starting to come back in. This is also a prior support level, yada, yada, yada. But the important thing, I think, you guys don't care about QSI. Hopefully no one's caught. I hope no one's caught long in that thing. Tesla's up 6%. Recovery day on Tesla. I shorted it this morning and lost because obviously it only went up. But we did take the 400 break, which is still going. So thank you, Tesla. Thank you, Elon. And yeah, shout out and happy birthday to Joe's brother. I don't believe, you don't have to say his name or anything, but.
Yeah, his name is Nathan.
Nathan.
Yes.
So happy birthday, Nathan. Is his birthday is it this weekend?
No, it was last Friday.
Okay.
Oh, it was last Friday.
You know how the new generation, they are extremely laggard in anything
So,
they do. So
basically he's saying the new generation is very laggard in everything that they do.
Yes.
So therefore,
So he
his
celebrates
birthday
it
was
a week
last
later?
Friday, but he's celebrating it a week later. But if it was last Friday, hold on a second, I gotta check, let me check my calendar. That would mean that his birthday that's the 27th.
yeah.
So that's one day after my birthday, which is a fantastic time of year to be born. So shout out to, I was gonna say like Mini Joe, but I don't want to go there. So obviously the market's looking fantastic. I'm gonna guess the Playmaker poll had to have been a banger of a trade. It had to be because the market's 1.6 to the upside. The ES is 1.2 to the upside. So I don't know where you guys got in. Maybe you can let me know at some point, but I'm sure it must have been absolutely banging. The SPY is at 591.65, so I'm not, usually you guys get in at 1 o'clock, right? So if you went long anywhere around the 1 o'clock hour, shoot, you could have 590.30, you could have 590.60. You're about a nice clean dollar in the money there. So okay, so Joe just sent it to me, because I don't know, did you guys review it? You probably didn't. Joseph, got to find Joseph in my chat. 590.70. So the Playmaker poll went long. I say that's a little bit late. You guys should have been long 15 minutes earlier. It's supposed to be tight to 1 o'clock, but a winner is a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Shout out to all you guys. West y'all just says, where do you see that news on RGTI? Rigetti has news? Is news on Rigetti? I'm in Rigetti.
Oh.
What news on Rigetti?
Technical breakdown. I don't know.
No, I think Rigetti just kind of failed. I was long Rigetti too, everybody, in the morning, and it was, I was going for that big breakout, probably should have shorted it there, then I shorted it off of VWAP. I don't see any news on Rigetti. Okay, so there's no news on Rigetti. I just short off of VWAP there, missed the reload, and we're hanging on to this one at like 19, or from like a 19 short, like 1893. So long Tesla, short Rigetti. We'll keep an eye on QSI, which just reopened and is bouncing to the upside. Yeah. Like I said, I'll be mildly disappointed in myself. I just couldn't cancel that bid. It is what it is. Like you have a bid sitting out there at an even number. Sometimes you get burned. Look at the bounce on QSI, already back at 430. Wow.
Yeah, no, this market's absolutely wild. We're continuing to get that push. We've reclaimed 21.5 on the Nasdaq, and a bit of a trade here. 400 push on Tesla, so we reclaimed 400, and oh boy, was that break very clean. And we're trading 403s right now, so it doesn't really look back that much below 400, and we got that continuation. Let's see what some of these other names are doing as well. Bitcoin 98.7s right now. Spider all the way back up at 5. 95.91. I've been trying some shorts, maybe fighting a little bit of the trend here, looking for potential selling to come back in, but there's no real sign of selling coming back in. We've been trending to the upside, and examples like Tesla are prime to see that, yeah, some of these tickers are very directional on the day and continuing to the upside. And other tickers that may not be as related are some of the chips. Nvidia is at its highs, but take a look at ARM as well. ARM very, very strong on the day. Here, we'll take a quick look at ARM. Right here, look at that clean trend. Doesn't even look back at VWAP. SMCI, very similar story here on SMCI. So the market very, very directional. TSM, again, of course, SMH. Here's one of the culprits as well. Straight to the upside, strong bid on a lot of these tech names here. Some of the quantum names though taking a serious pullback here. Again, IONQ not as much. We kind of talk about IONQ being a little bit of the leader of the space, but things like QSI and QUBT or even QBTS. Take a look at some of the action that's happening right here. I think QSI actually has some news right now. Look at that strong, aggressive volume to the downside right here. So just about a few, 6, 7. That's about 3. So about almost 9 minutes. 9 minutes ago, we got that, and then QBTS as well. A little bit of a reversion. Absolutely beautiful there off of 10. So failure to follow through of the $10 level gives us a strong push all the way down to day low. So lots of opportunity in this market. Apple as well. There's a bit of a trade on Apple that it false broke that 244 once again. So lots of opportunity if you're watching. Hopefully you guys are capturing some of these opportunities and learning along the way, because I definitely am as well. Let's go to Sharif with the rundown and see what's happening.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Obi in, Vershawn, as you saw, the boys locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. So join Joe and I during that How to Trade show during the midday and get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. But it's a subs-only chat, so you got to be subscribed. All right, guys, let's have a look at the NQ trading at highs, up about 1 3/4 right now. The ES not far behind, up 1 1/5, and the Russell 2000 up 1 1/3, and the Dow lagging behind here for the 4 major indexes, up 3/4% on the day. All 4 major indexes, though, green on the day. Let's have a look at TSLA, up big, 6.5% after a bad day yesterday on the numbers release. But we did have some kind of retribution today with respect to the deliveries. Looks as if they are, the deliveries in China hit a record high, definitely above expected for the month of December. And that prompted several rating agencies, I should say, to increase their price target on the stock, guys. So Tesla recovering nicely, up 6.6%.
Rocket ship is Tesla today. It's just a huge move. It doesn't, I felt pretty convinced that we would at least make a test of the 50-period moving average, but I suppose when you're coming from 480, that down to 370 is close enough. You know, like maybe this was a bounce. I thought there was one more push to get us into this prior high. Ended up being wrong about that. And if you're watching the morning show, then you know that means I went too far there. I know that that means, let me go to a 3-minute, that I was short it early. We're long now, but that's just on the breakout trade. And obviously, this was the time to short it was here. And oftentimes, like, you miss this trade. So it's trending to the upside, wait for it to get to 390. That's your short. You know, a lot of times you'll miss that, and then it comes back, and that price was about 387.75. So lo and behold, what do? I short 387.75. I know in my heart it's a bad decision, so I cover. But then I try a couple of pot shots at the high of the day to go red on the stock, like right in here and then right in here, like a couple of times. It's just unnecessary, right? I should be flat on the stock or maybe slightly up because I decided to bail on that short. And then the 400 breakout speaks for itself. It's just 400 even dollar break. I had been scalping out. I was out of 2/3 of it on the initial push into 402, and then it consolidated. Next push up, just been covering along the way. I kind of feel like now it's on a different trend line where I want to be want to connect this one. I want to look at the high of the day break here at 397, and it's just put this in. Like if it loses this trend, I feel like I should get out. Otherwise, maybe see what happens at the 405 level. But I feel like an all out if it loses the trend since the morning high breakout on Tesla. So, I mean, it speaks for itself how strong this has been today, but you gotta kind of take a step back and remember when the delivery numbers came out, it broke down through $408. So in here, I think is a bit of a top. And if you can press through 405, I'd probably look to just get out altogether, trend or no trend, somewhere around that 408. So it's a good move. It is filling in that gap. But remember, it was that 408 that this chopped through or that stung through when we had the delivery miss.
Yeah, this is absolutely strong action. We talk about today this morning that Tesla is a day 2 for delivery, so day 2 play. And you got to remember that Tesla, their deliveries catalyst is probably even bigger than some of their earnings catalysts. One of the biggest catalysts Tesla has is their deliveries, and I kind of learned that this past year as well with some of the action that we had off of some of their delivery numbers there. And you can see that day 2 we hold above this prior day's consolidation. We kind of reclaim this is the anchored right here. So I'll take off intraday anchored right here. So this red line, that's the anchored right there, and you can see right here. Now I missed this as well. You hold that anchored off of the open, and the pullback holds that as well. So you can kind of use a bit of a trend break reversion kind of execution to get long on the hold of that, or maybe even look at some of the reclaims of these highs. And you can see even if you leave it alone and be like, all right, well, if we break the morning session highs, then maybe I want to look for that continuation to come in, and that came in very cleanly with some strong volume as well. And we got that continuation through that 400. You can see the volume spike through the 400, and we continue to trade even higher. So that's pretty good. That's a strong sign for potential continuation as well. So let's see if we reclaim some of these prices that we got off of deliveries. That reference high is sitting at almost 411s right there. Let's check what that specifically is. 410.89 is the reference high for when that deliveries number came out right there. So we're not too far away, more than within range on a name like Tesla. Are we doing that much relative volume? Not really. We're doing just shy of 1 times here on a 5 period. Also remember that yesterday we were doing some significant volume as well, almost 2 times across the day. So Tesla, good name, very strong on the day, and you got that market tailwind helping you out for the longs as well.
4.5% with Nvidia. A couple of headlines today. So at AI chips or AI stocks strong today, as well as the microchip sector. Separately, they did announce with Cerence a collaboration for a CA-LLM family of language models. We also know that CES starts on Monday with Jensen Huang going to give the keynote for that. So make sure to look out for that, because we are expecting product announcements specifically, guys, with robotics, chips, and LLM collaborations.
Yeah, always a good catalyst. I mean, CS is always a good catalyst. It's always good fun to see what comes out of it. We'll talk probably a lot about robotics, as Shreve and Joe were mentioning on the midday show. As far as Nvidia went, it was basically, here, we'll start outside in instead of just going over the trades. I don't think anybody that was trading yesterday failed to notice the strong bounce off this 134, like double bottom on Nvidia, and it carried right through to some resistance, pretty much ending up exactly where you'd want it to set up today's trade. Right? Like it hangs out at the highs without actually breaking 140, so that when it took out this 140 half, that set up a 141 breakout, and then the 142 was just a separate trade. Like 142 is this double top, going all the way back to prior to the Fed, the 10th, and then this double top here at 142. It was a 141 break, and then a 142 add. I played it into 144, and that was pretty much it. Like it reverted after that, and then moved on over to try to trade Tesla, which ended up, I mean, the short didn't work on Tesla. Eventually, the long did. So Nvidia, it's on the comeback trail. The other important thing for Nvidia is this daily chart, like where it's going to be sitting here. You're now broken back above the 50 period on the daily, and I feel pretty safe in saying you're going to close above the 50 period moving average on the daily chart for Nvidia. This consolidation is gone. I think you're looking longs back into $150 in the short term here for NVDA. So I love the look. I don't know how much I like it this afternoon. There's a lot moving already. I don't necessarily want to chase these highs, but like maybe if it were to pull back into like close to VWAP, maybe not all the way to VWAP, that 143 was good earlier. I think you have to preach a little bit of patience on the dips. There was a chip name that we missed today, and Obi and I were talking about this.
Oh, Intel. Oh,
Yeah, it was just an easy miss on Intel at $20.
Continuation.
Like, so Intel, we always talk about closing prices mattering more. So just go all the way back to the 30th, $20 resistance, and then the following day, doesn't mean anything, the 20, until you close at $20. Then, fast forward to yesterday, you bounce exactly off 20 even at the low. Today, you bounce off 20.06, put in a higher low, and then just look at the trend. You're not going to find many opportunities where you can be long somewhere at like 2010 with an even dollar stop, and then you just get to hold it the entire day for an obvious trend trade. I think Intel has turned into, there's your higher low, consolidation break, let's go. That's about 21 change. If we get that at some point in the next couple of days, I'm going long on Intel, just very quickly. Rigetti's not on here, but I just trailed out of my Rigetti short at VWAP. So Rigetti, VWAP, missed the retest. It just broke this trend line to get me out. We got it 19 to 18, but time to cover it. It's now double bottomed here at 17.8. For anybody paying attention on Rigetti, this was that afternoon area that it broke away from. So the fact that it supported this, actually a good sign. I know it's down 9%, but if it's going to hold this line, break the trend, maybe close back up above 19, it still has a chance. We've seen it do it before. I like where this has gone. Made money on the short today, but you got to be able to follow the trend.
Yeah, this you can see I'm looking at it over here on a 3-hour chart, so kind of looking at it from a higher time frame perspective there, and we've been in a bit of a sideways chop, kind of a consolidation range, all the way from 126s to 140s and some change, basically underneath 150. Okay, so there go the futures, some fresh highs printing on the futures there. So yeah, Nvidia very strong on the day. It's consolidating near its highs there. So that prior high I'm seeing on Nvidia from, when is this? This is, I gotta close that right here. So that's from December 5th. Okay, so December 5th high, 146.54. So coming into some of those levels here right now, looking at a 15-minute chart, you can see it's just been on a grind up there. So initial off the open, initial drive was aggressive through that 140. We talk about that 142 level that was prior highs. That thing broke and continued. The consolidation was quite nice as well, and that VWAP hold, multiple holds of that 143 level above VWAP. Now we're kind of pushing towards those highs. 144.90 is the high, and yeah, this market continues to go up, Neil. So where will it stop? I have no idea. But SPY now above 592. So aggressive name. Now there's a lot of names running in the market, and Nvidia definitely being one of the top constituents, helping that out a little bit.
Bitcoin, baby, 99,000. Let's go. I love an up market.
Good day for Palantir today, Neil. Up 6.12% south of that $80 area. It's coming real close, 79, 78 we're trading at. I looked for a headline. There's no real specific headline. Looks like just strength with these AI names on the day, coming close to that resistance level at the whole dollar.
Buy the dip. I was going to do an acronym, but it's like, who cares? Buy the dip, apparently, on Palantir. The only problem is, oh, you got to be kidding me. There wasn't actually a dip today. It just broke out. Hindsight being 2020, sometimes the level is so obvious that if you think you're going to get it flushing through, you shouldn't only be married to that notion. I was like, wake me up when Palantir gives 71 buy. But I didn't have the long, and certainly when you look back at this, you know, hindsight's always 2020, but we talk about the significance of closing prices specifically. Palantir had this close right here at like 75, 70, and then resistance at that same price yesterday in the morning, holds underneath, and then that's your breakout right in the morning. It was breakout of right in terms of this level, or you could just take a 76 break for an even dollar break, off to the races. I did one trade on Palantir, which should shock nobody. It got to resistance at 80, which I think is pretty plain to see, and you can still see it chopping around the 80 level, and then just a mean reversion. So this is high of the day break, set the trend, break the trend, short, it couldn't break 79. basically 79.6 into 79, and then a break-even stop. It's still chilling out at the 80 level. Palantir, continual rocket ship. It just didn't give you the dip that you would have wanted. But I think a lot of times when this has happened, I always want to, when I look back at it, okay, great, there was this short opportunity in there, but it's like, okay, well, what's the obvious thing that you could have had? Well, look at this high of the day break. It's a double top, kind of tries to wick underneath, but then this nice little consolidation off of that high where it holds 78. Like there is a long in there where you can risk 20 to 30 cents to that 78 level. That's your opportunity to join Palantir. These ones are a little tricky. I think a lot of times if you're trying to get this, it's just as likely to bleed you and you lose way too much compared to when it does go. But there was an opportunity. Nice consolidation in here where your risk to reward is going to be fantastic because you know it's got room to the $80 level. And I think a lot of times you just got to be looking at the stock when it happens. In this particular case, I wasn't looking at Palantir until it got to 80.
Yeah, Palantir, again, something I want to point out, which we talked about earlier on, was that multi-day trend break. We've been pulling back off of that 85 level here, so some strong selling coming in on Palantir, all the way down to 75s, goes down to 72. 42s coming in off of the open. You see that this kind of selling was pretty persistent over Friday. Again, aggressive selling off of the open, kind of consolidating, making lower highs. Next day comes in, makes another lower high. Next day comes in, makes a lower high. Same story on Thursday, yesterday. And look at that. Finally, we get a bit of that break. So again, if you kind of mark that trend out, which we did with this line over here, you can see that the bid comes in quite aggressively on the break of that trend, multi-day trend, to say the least. They're off of a bigger picture, kind of a pullback off that 85 as well. So once that comes in, bid kind of steps back in and gives you that strong push, not only pushing us past prior day's highs, prior day's highs, and then week highs as well from breaking through Monday's, currently consolidating above Monday's high. So it's like it gives you a trend break, it gives you a weekly red to green move, it gives you a hold of that 75 level if you like psychological levels as well, a failure to follow through. So Palantir, absolutely beautiful price action that it's been giving us over the past few weeks, and pushing all-time highs, right? So it's like, let's see if this bigger picture trend continues on this ticker.
SoundHound up 6 2/3% with this headline. This headline is from yesterday. No specific one today, but a good catalyst nonetheless. Looks like they're partnering with Lucid to be able to give you voice control functions with the prompt, "Hey Lucid," something that we've seen SoundHound involved with before. But what I see here, guys, on the chart is a gnarly looking Head and Shoulders.
A gnarly looking head and, oh yeah, inverse. Yes. He corrected himself to the inverse. Like it's there you go, head, shoulder. This is another reversion too. I mean, SoundHound's been in a bit of a down channel. Like there's your down, there's your flush bottom, right into 19 support. You can't have every trade. That's my answer to, but doesn't this look so obvious that it double bottomed and put in the higher low and then off to the races? Yeah, it's obvious in hindsight, but I mean, what's the reason for looking at SoundHound this morning? And we talk about this all the time. It was like Nike the other day was one of the easier technical shorts that you'll find. But why were you looking at Nike yesterday? You know, that's the other side of the coin. Like, how many things can you try to go for? So I kind of like this, except for the fact that look at these lower lows and lower highs. It's now in a bit of a downward channel this afternoon, which there's a lot that's strong. I mean, look at Tesla. Tesla just, oh, by the way, Tesla, if it breaks 405, it's lost the trend line that I'm rocking on, and I'm going to get out of it. I just looked up and saw this on Tesla. So it doesn't matter which one you want to draw, but the one that now connects with this previous 402 level, if it loses 405, I'm jumping out of that trade. I think at this point, knowing 408 is a resistance level, I'm just going to jump out. But SoundHound good if it can close above here. I think that would look a little bit better, and I'd be more inclined to look for a long on SOUN. I was asked about Carvana, and oops, Carvana's on the New York. I get this wrong all the time on Carvana specifically, so I apologize in advance. Every time I pull up Carvana, I'm probably going to have to do it twice. So I was in this for the flat bottom when it lost at 187, but there was a capitulation candle down here that got me out. See this one right in there? There was a massive volume event down at 181, which was an easy punch out when you saw it starting to happen, and it's now double bottomed at the 181. So I missed out on, I mean, like all of the move, with the exception of that last like $4 at the end. So I got like here, like a buck change, and then $4. But should have been a short at VWAP. There's no question about it. I still maintain that anytime I see a short seller report, I'm just looking for any kind of a double bottom. So today it doesn't have a bottom. Wherever it holds today, I look for it to hold the same thing next week, and then we go from there. But yeah, not a good day for CVNA. And I just trailed out of Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, SoundHound, again, wasn't really watching it off of the open, but it seems like it had a pretty strong move off of this $20 level here, a bit of a shake and bake action, and then we break the morning session highs with a bit of consolidation, but continue to make lower highs as well, pulling back into the 21s. But yeah, I wasn't really on watch, but you can see it's kind of holding this bit of lower highs there. We're still technically making lower highs over the past couple, well, since last Thursday, it would seem, on SoundHound. But bigger picture, can't forget, this is a ticker that is a subsidiary of Nvidia. And you can see that since prior earnings right here on, what is this, November 12th of 2024 now, we've been catching a little bit of a bid. So we held that $6 mark, pushing through that 10 and gradually making higher highs and higher lows on this ticker, now finally claiming onto the $20 level. So a bit of a shake and bake on the intraday, but larger picture looking pretty clean to the upside here. And again, with some expanding volume as well. So curious to know how SoundHound is probably looking like by the end of 2025. We'll see.
As you heard the boys say, Bitcoin on its way to $100,000. Again, IBIT catching a bit as well, obviously up over 1.5%, looking to go 1.6, despite the fact that record outflows for some of these spot ETFs took place yesterday, Bitcoin spot ETFs, with BlackRock, guys, getting shellacked. $333 million found its way out of IBIT yesterday.
Yeah, that's a shame. 'Cause off to the races we go. Hi ho, off to 100,000 we go, and that's why you hodl. Who sells Bitcoin? Crazy people. No, just well, I mean, look, you don't make anything until you've actually banked a profit, right? Like there's certainly 100% truth in that. So I think Joe said we're going to get to 100,000. He said we're getting to 100,000 this afternoon.
Oh boy.
I'm going to preface that by saying I think 100,000 happens, but not during the open market. I don't think it happens before 4 o'clock. I think if it's going to happen, it happens tonight or on Sunday. It's just my 2 cents on it. I feel like that's what the usual course of action is for Bitcoin. So not telling you anything you don't know. The next test is 100K. If we were to dip, 97.5, looks like a pretty good dip spot. The thing that probably most people are going to be interested in the crypto space for momentum is the absolute nonsensical move that MSTR has made today, straight off of 300. I know it's like, whenever you have a good day, you shouldn't complain. Like the stocks you're looking at are the stocks you're looking at, and if you follow your plan, you had a good day, and that's all you can ever ask for. But I do have to ask myself why MSTR wasn't in the plan at all today, given what it did holding a higher low right in here. Like it's sort of, there's your flush day, there's your higher low, and then it kind of set up this breakout. Like there's that 310. Like, are we kidding me? Like that, it really set up this higher prior day long incredibly well. Like, but just like Palantir, you got to be looking at the stock. So like Tesla was a focus today, Nvidia was a focus today. Those are my 2 best stocks. Those are the 2 stocks I wanted to trade. So you can't hate on it too much, but my goodness, that is a great setup on MSTR. MSTR from now on is on my list of, even if I don't find a trade on it, I'm going to be looking at it in the pre-market. You know, it deserves a spot because that's about as good as you're ever going to find in terms of a technical break, and very little reason to get out until here and then 340. That's insane. That's a 10% move with maybe one slight, not even break of trend for MSTR MicroStrategy. So we get 100,000. There's no telling what this could do here on MicroStrategy. Maybe a little bit of a mean reversion happening as we speak, like a little bit of a pullback, but I'm not shorting this thing.
Yeah, that thing. I mean, when you look at that, Neil, you're just like, oh yeah, there's just a buyer probably on the tape. I'm not even looking at MSTR just yet, or I kind of didn't really look at it today, anytime intraday, but we didn't watch it in the morning. But IBIT, you can see a bit of a base on this 52 consolidation. We talk about Bitcoin consolidating around 100. This is kind of reflecting that that kind of consolidation here. Again, it is the Bitcoin Trust there, so very similar kind of action to what Bitcoin is doing. So why don't we just take a look at Bitcoin itself, and we get a little bit more perspective, because we see how it's been trading in the after hours or around the clock, right? So similar kind of consolidation here. Trying to reclaim that 100K as we speak right now. 98.8 almost, about 4 points away from $4 away from 98.8. But you can see that 100 mark is right there. We kind of break through this. Yeah, people are like, okay, well maybe head and shoulders, because we attempted to push the 100. We got all the way to 108, and now we're kind of holding 100 as well. I don't know. All I'm seeing is a consolidation at the highs underneath somewhat of a key psychological level, that 100K mark there. So with Bitcoin getting strong into the weekend, and we have the market running as well pretty strong. So let's see how much further this bid can kind of push us. Do we get back through that 100,000? I have no idea. Let's hear it in the chat if you guys think that Bitcoin will continue to push past that 100K. I definitely think it's well within range, so it's nothing out of the impossible for something like Bitcoin. But yeah, IBIT pushing to the upside currently alongside Bitcoin as the market continues to push higher. Let's see if that ES can get to that 6K mark. That's what I'll be watching for as well. Getting chopped up on these mini pullbacks fighting this trend, Neil. So I don't know. I got to wait for a significant sell, I guess.
Like a real trend break.
Like a real trend break.
Like I think maybe like some
Getting
kind of a
cuts.
well, the thing to keep in mind, and it's hindsight's going to be 2020, but I just covered Tesla at 405. It's trying to break back above 405 as we speak, so maybe we should still be in it. But when I look at the ES, like you do have 6K just sitting here. Like this is like the high here, 59.95 over here, 59.93. So you're still a few points away, definitely a whole lot of handles away. So you get a real test of that level. Sometimes it just has to get up there and try to break it before you get any kind of a pullback. It's just a strong market. You know, even when something sets up, like it looked like it was a mean revert on Tesla, boom, right back up and trying to retest these highs. I would have some concern with Nvidia though. Concern's not the right word, but see how we're just making higher highs on both the ES and the NASDAQ? Well, Nvidia has a bit of a head and, not a head and shoulders, but here's that lower high. Made the top, couldn't break 145, lower high, kind of pulling back in there. So I think it's a little bit distinctly different. That leads me to AMD, which is, I shorted AMD and got away with it this morning because, you know, obviously it put in a lower high. It's off of yesterday's highs. I know it looks kind of random, but yesterday's high failed and we shorted it. Eventually got the push back into 122 and then had a couple of tight stops on other shorts. It's okay to be wrong, just don't stay wrong. If you take that and it breaks out, just get out and don't fight the trend. But this one is super strong. Like all of a sudden AMD in the afternoon stronger than Nvidia. Who knew? That's all I can say about that. Oh, Nick Dubs in the chat with the super chat. Thank you, Nick W. Serve is the new SOUN. Well, it's the afternoon.
Wow, look at that.
I don't want to chase highs on anything. I want to look for dips that I can try to play some dip buys in. So why not look at Serve? That is Serve Robotics. And
look at what it's doing, Neil.
Yeah, that's it's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Looking like a lot of tickers in the market right now.
I mean, Nick, yes. Right now, it is much better than SOUN. Yeah. SOUN, there's nothing wrong about SOUN. Here's the best part. Look at this daily chart. Let's just do a little bit of a trend. Can we come to my chart for a second so we can all have this fun? You could connect it here. You could connect it there. I don't care where you want to draw. There's your bottom of the trend line. There's your top of the trend line. My only ever concern when I see something like this is I more or less, as a rule, never want to be day trading a top like this. I feel like that's so trappish. It doesn't mean go short because that's upward trending. So like the rule would be when it gets to the bottom of the trend line, as a day trade, look long. When it gets to the top, I'm not married to the notion of looking short. Like it's different with AMD. I'm going to hit save so that The next time I pull up a serve chart, I don't have to redraw that top and bottom. With AMD, different story. Like when AMD was testing the top of the trend line, with the notable exception of how strong it is today, this is why I was shorting AMD in the morning. Now I think it's a little bit distinctly different. I want to give AMD a chance to break this out. Oh, the funny thing is next week on the holiday on Thursday, we're going to be coming in and doing our trades of, the theme is going to be, we're going to do a show, our trades of 2025. We're going to, Michael Noss is going to stop through, Raheem's going to stop through, the whole crew is going to be there, and we'll give our ideas. I feel like AMD is not going to give us the opportunity to talk about this trend break because it's going to do it like the day before. And then I'll have already said it, and then I can't use it on Thursday. So spoiler alert, I'm probably going to talk about AMD on Thursday. The valuation's starting to look pretty good as well there. Another note before I throw it back to you will be this QSI, which I thought there was an offering. Mm-hmm. When you see a candle like this, the general assumption, the general assumption is offering. I still have yet to see anything at all suggesting there was one. Dara hasn't seen it either. Now double topped at 440, which isn't necessarily a random level. So this is like yesterday's high was 440, right there at the end of the day. And then right here broke away in the pre-market. It is now double tapped this level. My first thought is if it can break 440, why not just take a cheeky little long break here? That's actually 442. So, I mean, I should be shorting this. Like really, if there was news, I'd probably be shorting it. But there wasn't news that I know of, so maybe a 442 break, give it a really tight stop. And then we'll see what happens here on QSI.
Yeah, I'm just kind of watching Spider, the NASDAQ, Tesla as well. 406 is a bit of a pullback here, and the SPY just continues to push higher there. We're about 4.5 points away from 6,000 on the ES. So kind of watching that level come in as well. I'm curious to know. And yeah, a lot of these tickers in the market are looking very, very directional, up and to the right. As I think Sharif would say, there very directional, strong trend to the upside there. Look at that acceleration, 592 halves. Again, 5.99575, 75s on the ES there. And yeah, the NASDAQ held that 21.5 and continues to push up as well. So I have a question for you guys. How many of you are long? How many of you are short? I wonder if we can throw up a poll. If anybody's trading on the day today on, let's say, a strong beta name, I'm curious to know, or throw it up in the chat. Have you been long mainly? Have you been mainly short? Did you flip as well? I don't know. I didn't. I've definitely not flipped just yet here, but this bid has been quite aggressive. You can see I've tried it multiple times here on the SPY, kind of coming into some of the intraday trend breaks, some prior days levels. It's getting chopped up a bit by bit as of right now. No real reversion, but yeah, Neil was saying, yeah, I should probably wait for a bit of reversion to come in. And you can see here, a lot of these tickers are very, very directional. I'm not really seeing any sort of weakness other than Apple. Apple is relatively weak compared to some of these other tickers. So you can see that Apple is consolidating beneath its VWAP. We held that 244's level. Again, Apple yesterday was one of the strongest sellers on the day, pretty much opening near highs and closing near its lows with a low of day at 241.83. So holding consolidation underneath VWAP as of right now. So let's see what that VWAP entails for us going into the last hour and 20 minutes of the day. So MSFT, softy here. You can see that it's attempting to break its opening range high, so pretty strong on the day as well, but chip chop along the way. Google, nice little flag here forming. Again, this breakout happening as of right now, 192.40s. You can see we kind of consolidated on top of VWAP, and now we're making a run for opening range high, day highs at 193.21s as well. So let's see when, if and when this bid will stop. Maybe we get price action like yesterday on some tickers where we were aggressively sold off, opening near the highs, closing near the lows, and today we're reverting on a higher time frame, pretty much opening near the lows and potentially closing it near the highs as well. And that's definitely something I'm considering. But if and when that trend breaks, it has not been like every level that, in my opinion, I thought was a little bit of a resistance. Sure, we got some selling, we got some aggressive selling. Sometimes this is the spider here, so we got some strong selling every now and then off of some of these prior levels, but no real kind of break in trend. You can see this trend is extremely strong. So off of that VWAP hold, you kind of get a little bit of that action right there. So you can measure it off of this pullback as well. So you can see how strong that is holding as of right now. And I'm sure if you use moving averages or anything like that, it's been holding well on those trend indicators.
So minor piece of news here.
What's up?
It looks like Johnson won the House Speaker. For anyone that's interested, obviously we have a lot of U.S. Viewers. Shout out to everyone south of our border. Yeah, so Mike Johnson, I think it was so expected that he was going to win. So a little bit of stability, I guess, going back into the House. I guess that might have been weighing on things a little bit. But you asked for a poll, Obi.
Yes, and the poll
is up. So it says "Are you?" So 78% of our viewers, and I'm assuming if you're in position that you're in a long position, which makes sense because we're at the high of the day. Although sometimes you look for those shorts, so 21% hopefully are at least short on a weak stock or at some, or you have a really good entry or just a good trading plan. That's the idea. You always want to have a good entry plan. I saw a few people saying, hey, they're long Tesla, they're long Nvidia, some specific names. Shoot, I just heard Geo in my ear. Okay, something going on with Geo Group. This is it used to be a Michael Burry stock. I don't know if he's still in this one. This is the prison stock, I believe. Right? That's what they do.
No idea.
No, I think so.
I have no idea.
But yeah, so yeah, kind of top heavy though. Yeah, careful with this. Like I know it just broke out. That looked like really good on the 3-minute chart, but have a look at this selling in at 29 on the daily. That is a very unconvincing breakout if this is all it's going to do is get to that 29.5. Probably needs to bust through 30. 30 big resistance on the daily chart. That is a long consolidation. Like there's bull flags and then like what's the name? Because like what would be the name for this when it just goes on forever sideways? So yeah, Geo looking pretty interesting, especially if you can get through 30. But I haven't heard any news specifically. There could have. Oh, they're saying it as some kind of a. I'm now hearing it could have something to do with Mike Johnson being elected speaker.
Okay.
I suppose maybe there'd be some good legislation that could come through in that sector. That makes some sense. Just had another question here. I'm not sure the what is that? ISCA bump? ISAC bump? 03? Micron. I can tell you right now that Obi liked Micron this morning. Oops.
Oh yeah.
That's the wrong stock. Get the right one in the drop down. 3% up. You could not have gone wrong today with a bunch of chip names, but all I would wager is, oh, boo, QSI didn't do that breakout I wanted. It hasn't broken the top here on Micron. Big time overhead resistance on the daily right here, right now at that $90 level. So this is another, just chasing it up here, I don't know, because you have a lot of overhead resistance. If I was inclined to look shorts, I might actually be thinking about it on something like a Micron. If it presses 90 and then fails that high, I'd be thinking a reversion. Great, it's a great story, but remember, this stock got punked on earnings. Like you had the Fed, then you had earnings, and it's just trying to break out this top. So maybe give it a heartbeat, and then on Monday we could come in and we could be breaking that high out. Adara?
Yes, I'm looking into GEO. I know this is one as well that Citron Research has talked about in the past. To be clear as well, GEO. I looked into this. I'm not seeing any news. And I'm not seeing any connections to Mike Johnson either. From what I'm seeing on social media, it appears that people are really excited about this technical breakout. Because here in the daily chart, it's basically a bull flag. We're coming into that $30 level. So from what I can tell, that seems to be what's pushing this up. It's worth noting this is actually pretty low volume on the day as well. This isn't even like crazy daily volume. So just be aware, GEO, nice look here, but certainly not anything, if you kind of contextualize it, that is super significant in terms of news catalyst. Even on daily volume right now, it's about 1.2 million shares traded. So GEO, I will keep looking for catalysts, but it does seem to be a lot of social media excitement about a technical breakout. Back to you.
Wow. Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of excitement there. And thank you to SP Williams for the super chat. We appreciate you. Neil, your thoughts on VSTM? And then this is my favorite part here. Enough respect, Yardman. Aki and Saltfish. I love Aki and Saltfish, but I had to correct you. It's not a Yardman. I was born in Canada. My family's from Antigua, so I was born here. So I'm not a true Yardman. But Antigua, the best island in the West Indies. And for anyone looking for a vacation in a tropical island, I just want to remind you that the island of Antigua has 365 perfectly beautiful sandy beaches, white sand, one for every single day of the year. They're all public, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So Ramin's like, why would you want people to go there and ruin it? Because I have family. Most of my family is down there, and I always want to have the island economy, which is pretty much all tourism supported. So that is, well, I'm not getting paid by them to say that. It's just every time it comes up.
Sure you don't work for their tourism department?
Not yet, I don't, Obi. Not yet, I don't. But
they're listening.
But if somebody's listening and wants to give me and my family like free tickets every single year to visit the beautiful island of Antigua, just go home and see some family, that would be fantastic. No, seriously, you got to take vacations somewhere.
Beautiful island.
And I've been to a lot of the islands. I'm not like Jamaica's fantastic. I mean, St. Lucia, like I've been to half of them, I would say. But Trinidad's great. Dewey in the chat there. I'll admit to this. Carnival is the best in Trinidad. There you go. I can at least admit that much. But VSTM, I don't know about the volume on this because it feels like it's really dried up today. But it looks very good. But sometimes we look at these small caps and the chart looks abysmal. This one is a definite continuation gap fill right now. So you have to zoom it out and keep things into perspective. When it gets to $9, I typically will tell people if you're in any kind of a long, which is breaking out here or breaking out here, and you have no interest in covering in front of $9, it's like, what are we doing? And especially that $11 level. So I like the continuation play. It's day 2 after breaking out this local high at $6. So that's good, and it's a continuation. Look at that. Pull right back into that prior high. But the volume for this afternoon, I don't think you got a day trade here. See my issue? You have day 1, day 2, day 3 on low volume. I'll tell you what a day trader's thinking. With that low volume, they're going to come in and want to short this on Monday. Because you have a multi-day mover, which it bleeds to the upside without a lot of volume behind it. That's sniffs of mean reversion on the next day. So, when people don't ring the register on things like this, oftentimes they get a lot of, FOMO would be the right answer there. I'm going to get back over to, I'm going to throw you to you, Obi, but there's one thing. I'm hearing a dare in my ear.
Yeah.
RGTI is starting to get back into VWAP. I like VWAP. So if we get into 19, I'd probably look for another short opportunity.
So yeah, what is he? Vegas.
There is Mike's live.
I still. So.
I just don't want her because I think she had to just had to take a phone call.
Yeah,
You don't want that to go on air.
So 592s coming back in, a little bit of a pullback here. We didn't quite get to 6,000 just yet on the ES there. So did we talk about Noah here? Noah with the super chat makes $ both ways. So it makes money both ways. I learned it from watching you, saying Noah. Nice, yeah. So definitely you want to have the ability to make money both ways, make trades both ways, kind of stay nimble, and that's what I am definitely not doing by trying to fight the trend today. But we'll see. Underneath the 6,000 currently on the ES. But yeah, no, thank you Noah for watching, and yeah, always glad to kind of portray all kinds of trading here for you guys to kind of extract and learn off of. Tesla, look at that. Tesla potentially coming in for a bit of a trend break here as well. So I got that on watch. Look at how accelerated this trend is on Tesla. We got that strong push off of that 400 mark, and then we get that continuation all the way up to 407s. I got to look at this on a shorter time frame, maybe even a second chart here, because I think that 400 break was a pretty clean. I know that Neil had that 400 break. It never looked back, did it?
No.
Yeah.
Like I got 21s.
I don't think I ever noticed it.
I had 21s long. It never retraced, I think, like 35. Like it didn't even retest 400 even.
No, it didn't. So if you I'm assuming you had a script to get in. What did you get off of on the fill through the 400?
No, I crossed to 31 and I got filled at 21.
Okay, that's not bad.
Like,
So a
which is
20
pretty
penny,
good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I feel like on the afternoon one, sometimes you have a better chance of getting like an 05 fill or like a 10 fill if you play it in the afternoon. But this case, you know, you'll take 21s when eventually it moves $5. And the first push was like scalping from about like 400. Come on, Tesla, I'm waiting for this to like load up. That first push, because I can come to my chart now. It's kind of hard to see on can I move to a 1 minute chart here?
Oh, there's gonna be lots of wicks on that one.
I know there's gonna be. I like a 3 minute chart a little bit better.
Look at that.
But if you look at it, like there's the initial push where it's like the old offer enter on the first quarter, which I'm pretty much always do. That's the 401. Then it goes sideways for a couple of beats, and then there's this take here is 401 testing again, and then a push into 402. Like it's this candle where I'm taking out the next. Like I'd say the bulk, because when it hits here, I'm now at 2/3 of it when it does that push, and then it's hold for some prior highs. And then from there on, you're just getting out like 5% at a time. It mean reverted to me on this move on a 3 minute, so I got out, and it's right back at the highs. Tesla's an absolute rocket ship, but I was lamenting and wondering how I'm supposed to be short Carvana again, because this just went 11% down and is still bleeding. So there was a capitulation candle, and it was the biggest volume candle of the day, like this bounce play that got me out. And it started here on the 3 minute, it's easier to see. On the 1 minute, I punched it when I saw the buying start to come in. But now all of a sudden, Carvana is continuously bleeding. I don't know where the bottom is going to be on this, but I can tell you the 200 period's at $155. And there may be a support down here at 170. Carvana is nasty, nasty today. Wow. I really thought it had caught a bid there.
Wow.
That was a mistake.
Yeah,
it really looked like it caught a bid. I just punched out the whole thing when I saw this. Like I didn't put a trailing stop on or anything. Like I kind of saw it looking like it was starting to amp up, and I punched out at 181, like 80 or something like that. And look at this thing bleed now. I don't know where to get in. It's too far down, I think.
Yeah, I think that. What do you think about that 186 level? That kind of stands out right off the bat. I'm looking at that 1 minute chart, but
well, that's where I was shorting to. I was shorting to 85 to 86, but then I shouldn't have covered it all there. That was the problem.
Yeah, I didn't even see that you were involved with the ticker, but yeah, no, beautiful continuation. I mean, this is what we talk about. This is what we meant this morning when we were talking about ideas versus execution. I had the idea to look for the Carvana continuation coming in on the day, but you can see that a lot of types of execution probably didn't work or stopped you out initially. You kind of had to wait after about 10:30, 11 o'clock for the selling to kind of start to step in again. We got a high of day at 197.44, and look at this clean trend. Definitely a seller or a strong selling pressure consistently coming in from VWAP off of that lower high after after about noon, after 12 o'clock. That high sitting at 191.94 there, trading at 177.60. So, oh boy, what an extension to the downside here. So selling looking distinctly different from the rest of the market here on Carvana. Kind of a bigger picture trend as well. You remember you got to pull up a higher time frame chart. Here is a 3 hour. Let's get that VWAP out of the way here, and you'll be able to see that since we've made those highs at 268s and we consolidated post earnings here for over 49 trading days, it says. So all the way from October to December, we finally cracked that a couple weeks ago and start to flush to the downside back through 200. We got that, and then now trading even lower on Carvana, and then to get hit with a short report just yesterday. So not only do you have a bit of a trend break, structure break, you have the ticker pulling back off of its highs, kind of that consolidated for a few months and pretty much failed to follow through into those 260, 270 highs there. What's up, Adara?
So I did look a little bit more here. It turns out it seems like these prison stocks like CoreCivic and GEO are actually apparently trading higher after the election of Mike Johnson as House Speaker. Why this is interesting is because he was already the Speaker of the House. He's just been reelected. And it's also worth, or I guess as the term ends, and it's also worth noting here that I looked into this and he does not seem to own any prison stocks. In fact, he's actually notable because he's a member apparently of the House when he had to do his disclosures that seems to own very little assets. So I'm not really sure why these are running in relation to him. We know they got a bit of a run as well on November 5th with the election of Donald Trump. So it could just have to do overall with Republican sentiment. But either way, CXW getting a lot less volume here, only 323,000 shares traded on the day. GEO has, given up some of that mood, but this one a little bit higher with an 8% short float. And 1.36 million shares of volume traded on the day, so not super significant. $4 million market cap. But one thing I do again want to note with GEO is I have been seeing a lot of talk on social media about this breakout. So the move in GEO, well, definitely aided, it seems, by the selection of Mike Johnson. It seems to be really pushed by this technical breakout towards that $30 level. Back to you.
This, and I see in the chat here, a lot of people have mentioned CRNC, which has a wild weekly chart. Look it up. 18% short float on this bad boy. No report till, actually it's not a bad float. 40 million float, 137 million in shares done today. I was kind of looking for an entry trade here at some point on CRNC, but then I looked at this daily, like, oh, yeah, 17 and a half. We're at $19, so it's getting a little bit top heavy. I think maybe looking for some kind of a reasonable dip. That 17 and a half was a gold level, 1, 2. That's where you want to grab that long. Maybe a dip into this could provide a trade. Back to Derek, because I think there's news on this.
Let's take a look here at CRNC because we do have a catalyst on this one. Actually, Sharif mentioned it during the rundown for Nvidia because its catalyst is Nvidia related, which you know is always a great look for companies here. So basically, Cerence announcing they've expanded a collaboration with Nvidia with regards to its language model. So it looks like some LLM work for Cerence, this double whammy of an AI-related catalyst and an Nvidia-related catalyst, sending up about 130% as of right now, though it did pretty violently reject that $20 level. I talked about that a little bit during the midday. In terms of background on this stock, this one has rallied in the past. As Neil mentioned, it's been a mover in the past. We do have an 18.1% short float of 40.2 million shares, and market cap as of this most recent run around $800 million. Back to you.
Yeah, it's at 20 resistance. That kind of makes it a little bit iffy. I see QuantumScape's making some moves in here. I still have eyeballs on VWAP here for Rigetti because that's starting to come in. QS, a lot of people were mentioning. I don't know about this one. Unless QS, because remember QuantumScape doesn't necessarily have much of anything going for it. Like, I can't think of what's the possible catalyst here, right? Like, I think we all know the story for them by this point, and it's just a repeat offender at these levels. I'd be a little bit hesitant to join that one. I'd rather trade, and the volume's good, but I'd rather trade something else. Rigetti's starting to get into that VWAP. The last couple of times it's come in, there's been a kind of push up into VWAP and then a rejection. So there's the push up, it rejects. The short's been there, not there. So I'm not shorting it into VWAP. I'm going to look for it to press. As long as it never breaks 1932, I'll then look for the confirmation that we're coming back in. Either it's a consolidation break, it consolidates over VWAP, consolidation break, or a big red hammer and then short the consolidation or something like that. Instead, this short here, I was just covering for unknown reasons at this like 18.8. So this is what I'm looking at right now, but got to be patient for it. Like if I'm going to short something, I want it to be weak, down on the day, underneath VWAP, trending down for the entirety of the day, and it has to set up the way I like. So if it gives me that setup, push, and then fail under, I'm going to go back into the short on Rigetti. Tesla's still looking pretty strong. CRNC is just continuing to go here. Yeah, maybe there isn't going to be a dip back into 17.5, but I don't want to buy any highs on this stock. I don't mind trying to play this, but it's a monster level on the weekly, that 200, or 20 level. I think playing a dip is going to make a little more sense than chasing the high.
Yeah, I think for you mean for the long trade.
Yeah, for the long run.
Yeah. I think it's some markets. I think it's or some kind of plays definitely better to remove liquidity and kind of chase. We see that with opening drives where you're paying to get fills and removing liquidity for a continued push. But sometimes when the action is very directional and kind of passive, waiting for those pullbacks, looking for them to sustain, and then getting involved there can definitely be a little bit better there for sure. I definitely agree with that. Let us know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. What are you guys trading? Are you guys trading some
Boeing broke
intraday
170.
170 on Boeing? Yeah, that I think
that's a big level.
Yeah. 170 on Boeing, I think, what was it? I think Darren might have been talking about this one. earlier this morning here, 170. Yeah, some prior lows there here at 170 on Boeing. But yeah, pulling back from those highs that we just made prior week at 182.57. So bigger picture, this thing, yeah, is still kind of in the downtrend. We know that they've been having some issues this past year. Bigger picture downtrend as well. Looking at the 3 hour, looking at let's go. You know what? Let's go to a weekly. We've been kind of wow, that is a beautiful kind of run up that we've had. But you can see right here, so strong volume coming in, what is it, February of 2020. And since then, we've been kind of chopping sideways here. But this past year, you can see earlier on in the year, we started that gap down and that continuation to the downside here on Boeing. Found a bit of a base 137s, lower high currently at that 182. So nice little range on this ticker, but bigger picture, man. What happened? I guess. Oh wow, this is COVID. So I'm like, what happened in March 2020? Yeah, no, that's
what happened.
That might have been COVID.
No.
You know? And we've never reclaimed any of those highs on Boeing. So this seems like this company's a little grounded here below some of these levels on Boeing. But yeah, nice little consolidation on this increased volume as well in the higher time frame. You can see what it's been doing. So let's see. Oh boy, we're getting a little bit of selling here, Neil. Has the trend broken? I have no idea, but line go boom, as some of us might like to say.
Oh, that was so close. I went to put a stop order in on CRNC before I punched long. And so the idea was CRNC pulled back a little bit here into this the 18.5 zone. So I went to throw a stop underneath there, and then I was going to go long once I had my stop in place. I like to have a stop order in position even sometime before I get in, just to protect myself from any kind of a dump. But I actually, instead of putting a stop order in, I punched short, which I instantly punched out, which is what you should do in a situation like that. But then I just missed the long. So good news, I didn't just get rinsed on the short, but bad news, I just missed that long on CRNC, which is frustrating, but it's better than the alternative, which would be caught short. Keystroke errors. When it's a lazy, what's interesting is I find like when it's a kind of a lazy afternoon, like you're not in position, and then of course, while that's happening, I just missed with Getty, pulling back off of VWAP, not gonna chase. You know, last time, if you didn't get the hammer candle down, then you could still find a consolidation. So even if I don't get the short here, back into 19, I'll try to leave the order in at 80s and then try to pick something up on a consolidation short for a secondary play. But that CRNC is just an absolute rocket ship. Respect that. But Tesla's breaking down.
Yeah, the market just came in as well, Neil.
I missed that.
Finally got a bit of a piece there. I've been trying for since about, when is this? When I initially tried my shorts here at 590 halves. When was this? 1 o'clock. All right, so around 1 o'clock. Been kind of keeping it tight, looking for a push to the downside, but now we finally get one. But here's the thing: this could very well kind of reclaim. The bid is strong, and it's still very clear that buyers are in charge on the day today. So this could just come into some of those prior levels that where we pulled back and kind of supported. We could make a higher low as well. That's one of the I guess instances that could potentially happen. But yeah, it's starting to break down a little bit of trend here. So we kind of had a rudimentary line here on the P-Pro chart, but you can see that a little bit cleaner kind of action here that I'm following. Speed lines. I know Sharif talks about me using speed lines every now and then. So I do like speed lines every now and then. I like the anchored VWAPs as well. Support and resistance I like as well. But let's see if the speed lines are indicating that we've slowed down, or are we just catching a bid on a prior support level here. Trending support, right? It's trending support and resistance are what speed lines kind of can potentially indicate at times. But let's see, the trend had accelerated quite nicely there, all the way up into 592 halves. 592.60 is the day high right now on the Spider. And again, I was looking for that 6,000 to come in on the ES as well. Didn't quite get there. VWAP is all the way down at 589 halves. So let's see if we can potentially get to that. Excuse me, it is power hour currently. So yeah, We've been bidding up for majority of the day. Maybe we get some profit taking. It is a Friday, but if we're going to continue the bid, we should see some of these prior levels kind of reclaim, and maybe some of the reclaim of some of the speed lines as well. But if this trend kind of cracks, maybe we come down into this anchored here as well. We held that anchored in the midday session, so I was looking at that. I was looking for a pullback in through this anchored level, as we have been kind of selling off of it for multiple kind of days in a row. So sellers in and around this area is what I got from that. Let's see if we get that follow through for a quick reversion into that VWAP or prior levels here as well. 590s, a lot of volume, a lot of churn on top of that 590s during the midday session before we start to push a little bit higher for those fresh highs. And yeah, you can see it on the ES and the NQ as well. Let's see if we continue to break some of this trend as we pull back into the downside. But yeah, I had to try multiple times kind of getting paper cut. And yeah, finally it kind of gives us a little bit of room here. So no idea how much further it's going to go, but how I like to see it are if certain things happen, then probabilities change, and I can potentially make more decisions off of those.
So Obi,
market pulling back right now. What's up?
I'm going to read you something, and you got to guess me the stock. What stock am I talking about when I read this line?
Okay.
And in the
should
chat,
I not look, or
no, I don't have that stock up right now.
Okay, cool.
So in the chat, if you want to guess what I'm talking about, I'm just going to read a quote, and then you guys can tell me what stock it is.
Okay.
A shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. Michael Knight, a young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent. Obi, you can get it. You can do it. Adara, I know you know Adara. And now you
Adara right away, she's like, oh, I know.
Adara was like, before I even finised, she's like, I know exactly what stock you're talking about. Can you
please use that in a sentence? No, I'm joking.
Do you know the show?
No.
That is Knight Rider, Michael Knight, right? So Knight Rider, and then Kit, the name of his trusty automobile. Well, I don't know why I said automobile. Car.
I thought you. No.
No, you guys knew.
I did not understand the assignment there, Neil.
You did, well, some people are saying, look at this. MSTR, Rigetti, Tesla, Roblox. I mean, okay. I mean, most of you got Kit, Supercar. We got a lot of good guesses in there. Interesting guess, I should say. I'm not going to classify them necessarily as good, but for anyone that doesn't know, David Hasselhoff was very popular in the 80s for a show called Knight Rider, which I used to watch. Okay. And then there was an undercover, there was a show that came out about the same time, which I really like, called Airwolf, where instead of a car, it was a helicopter. You never heard of Airwolf? Airwolf was legit. But Kit, let's get to the stock, Kit.
Yes.
So Kit is a strong one. It's obviously a low float runner up 100%, bouncing off. What I like here, rounded bottom off VWAP at $3. What I don't like is the volume is dead. So I think a lot of times when you look at something like Kit in the afternoon, this is my problem with it. It's not just that the volume is low, it's that the volume has died down here. So we're going to quickly go to Adara, but just in 1 second, because I did get that fill, the consolidation down on Rigetti. Well, I got some of it. I didn't get fill for the rest. Kind of left my order in there. Did not get everything there underneath 1870, but we're going to work this one off of VWAP back down into the low of the day. So there's the press into VWAP, the lower high, and then short on Rigetti. Scalped some out already for about 15 pennies, but I want more on RGTI. Let's go to Adara.
Another runner and watcher, DGLY. That is a Digital Ally. I'm trying to figure out why this is moving. There's not a lot of social media attention. I couldn't find much about the stock other than the fact that apparently in the past they had some deal with Kansas City Chiefs. But DGLY, not a lot of info in this one. Not a ton of volume either, just under 1 million shares, but it's worth noting because of this volume spike here on my scanners. Float of 3.1 million shares, about 6% of that is going to be sold short. Also seeing SPEV, Splash Beverage Group, popping up here. This went up about 32%, 47 million share float. I'm going to look and see if I can find any info on SPEV, which is a penny stock. Back to you.
I feel like all I heard was Kansas City Chiefs, so short that stock as far as I'm concerned. That's what's up, because I don't like the Chiefs. I like the Bills. But shout out to our good friends at Trade Ideas. And for everybody out there, how about you kick off 2025 with a massive savings from Trade Ideas? Right now, exclusive to Trader TV, viewers get 25% off any subscription with the code TraderTV25. Or Go big with 30% off the premium annual using TTV Pre-M 30. That's TTV Pre-M 30. You can find it on the screen in front of you. Both are valid through Sunday, January the 5th. Don't miss out on these New Year's savings, and let's crush 2025 together. Shout out to Trade Ideas. We appreciate you. Mason Moore in the chat says that I should not expose my age so much.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if I talk about 80s,
Why does it? Come on.
I'm literally saying like I watched X show as a kid. Anybody can go look it up on IMDb and then figure out how old I am. It doesn't really matter if you guys know how old I am by now. Like, it's not rocket science. You guys can figure that one out very, very easily there. Kit was okay. Dukes of Hazzard was better. I respectfully disagree to that one in the chat. Some people saying they like both shows, they like them all. Just having a little bit of fun here. But Tesla is having a different kind of fun.
Oh yeah, that rebid coming in. Oh,
Tesla
boy.
is on one.
Break
Oh,
of trend.
goodness.
What is that, Neil?
What
that
what
even
break
again?
of trend?
What is that?
It broke trend?
What is
Like for a heartbeat, it broke trend. This wants that
Psych.
408. It really does. Just a reminder to everybody, like this is not nothing. It dumped through $408 on it was yesterday. Acting like it wasn't yesterday. On the delivery number, it was a 408 breakdown that ended up happening. And clearly you've got some kind of selling 408 to 410. I don't know that I want to go short this name. I'm trying to think if there's like a sympathy play I can short. I was short Rivian earlier, and Rivian's not doing anything. I don't wonder, like, if Tesla loses the bid and I can short Rivian with a really tight risk, maybe I should just try and do that. But it's Tesla that's moving. I should try to focus on. I'm going to reshort. I still have my order in on Rigetti to try and get the rest of my fill underneath VWAP, so I'll probably pick that up in a second and continue to short that under VWAP. But Tesla's a rocket ship at this moment. It's the one that's going pretty strong in here. I don't know what it's doing to the futures because the futures have refused to make a fresh high.
No,
So Tesla's doing all this on its own
Yeah.
at this point. Nothing else is going.
Yeah, I think the pullback off of that 406. I mean, I was even looking. I'm watching that ticker. I'm just like, all right, well, if this breaks trend, then yeah, we know how Tesla can get pretty aggressive when the offside kind of comes in, and seeing it as it's been bidding, pretty much bidding along with the market. Does it pull back along with the market when the market is pulling back as well? Absolutely not. So anybody who's trading it off of that kind of beta, getting a little slapped around here as it pushes some fresh highs there. 408s incoming on Tesla, trading 407 halves right now. But the market catching a little bit of some relief there off of that bid. So let's see if we can come back into the 21,500 level here on the NASDAQ. Apple as well, we kind of talk about Apple being relatively weak. What is Apple up to if Apple starts to crack as well? Oh boy. Neil, did you notice this? I didn't even notice this.
Probably
I gotta
not.
like, you know, when I'm doing my scans, look at this prior bar breakdown, prior bar gap down on Apple.
Oh, wow.
Since, what is this? We've been holding since November. The first week of November, the weeklies have been holding trend back to back, and the first red week that we've gapped down below prior week low to begin with. And this is the first, this is the week of December 30th. So this is this current week. So this action over the past 3 days, we've been kind of selling off and pushing back down, breaking that trend, giving us that reversion back through 250. Oh boy. Apple with a little bit of a pullback to the start of the year. Let's see how that one kind of fares going into the end of the month here. But first red week in a while. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8, 9 green weeks in a row after a consolidation breakout of this 238, 240 level here, 237 to be exact on Apple. But if you look at the intraday here, you can see how relatively weak it is compared to the market. We were looking at this a little bit earlier here as well. It's just been consolidating using VWAP as a bit of a core, just orbiting around VWAP, making lower highs, a bit of a held offer here at 244s in the morning and midday session, kind of comes back, pulls back in. So ranging on the day. So if you like to trade the range, look no further than Apple, because this one definitely gave you a couple bites, multiple times going both ways. Lower range kind of defined in the morning, higher range defined in the morning as well, and it kind of a bit of a level hold on both sides. Now we're getting that compression, and that's kind of breaking as well. But going into the end of the day, relatively weak compared to some of the other Mag 7 names here. You can see Google, yeah, a little bit of a chop sideways, but it's above VWAP, kind of consolidating. Wow, there goes Tesla, 409. So can we see 410s here, Neil, on Tesla? Looks like it is running to the upside in the last hour of the day. Absolutely wild here.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, like Tesla has, like, it just picked up steam on volume at these highs. It's now in full obvious squeeze territory. Look, hindsight's going to be 2020. Obviously, you could say, yeah, you could have just had that at 405, but I think that 410 is going to come in here. The real question is, that feels like a break. Oh my goodness, at 315, it violates a lot of rules to try to take a breakout like that late in the day. I'm going to say a no to taking that break. I think you could at least consider, I don't want to short the stock. I'm looking over at some like better things to short that are at weakness than Tesla here. But at that 410 is a resistance spot. So the bears are getting absolutely punked. You're right about that Slugga 214 in the chat. Just mentioning the bears are going. I saw someone saying QS and Tesla are running together. I would beg to differ. This actually looks like this might be coming through the other end. I haven't paid for, I don't think I paid for locates. I don't know if we have free shorts on this, but consolidate, like it broke this trend line and is consolidating underneath the break at $6. So this might be a little something here on QS. Let me just double check for the option. Oh, we do have free locates on QuantumScape. Yeah, when I see this one, you know, it's already rejected multiple times off this high at 6.5 or so, and now it's trying to come back into the lower high. There's a candle wick top, break of trend. This looks like a short to me, volume tapering off, maybe more interest over there in Tesla. Like if I want to short something, I want it to give me a trade. You know, this is giving me a trade. I just want it back underneath $6, then maybe breaking this 99, get short like 98, 97 on a break of 99. So I'm going to put QuantumScape up, and very likely this will be the next thing I get into. Because that's actually a pretty, like that setup works on multiple time frames. And I can then have like a tight stop here on QS. And hey, if Tesla decides to bleed down, it probably doesn't hurt a short in something else.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking for that Tesla to start to slow down, and I'm just kind of bewildered by this price action. We got that 400 break, and it just runs 10 points. Sure, it's not a clean 10 points. We pull back off of 406s, 407s down to 404s on the way, but if you're taking it off the 400 break and you're like, all right, the risk on this trade is 400. We've only been ticking up and consolidating, holding and breaking out, continuing this uptrend on the day here on Tesla, and finally catching a bid all the way, opening up at what was this? 375 lows? No, not just there, but 380s all the way to 410. So there's a 30-point move on a ticker like Tesla, and it's giving you clean breaks like that 400 push. Absolutely wild there. Never looked back into that 400 just yet. So 410s incoming, 408.70s trading right now. This book is pretty thin and not too much, I guess. Oh wait, no, I'm looking at that's the spider there. No, even the Tesla book is pretty thin, but I was looking at the tape on the spider and being like, why is there not a lot of blocks going through on this? That's because Tesla is over here. So yeah, you can see that decent chunks being traded here, and a lot of it on lit gates as well. So these are all shares here. So you know, someone's coming in right now with 16. Well, that was a dark pool, but you can see the last lit gate here, ARCA, 1,300 shares at 408.85s here. So trading near the highs there. Someone hitting the offer. That's the bright green for 1,300 shares on Tesla, kind of pushing, and you can. I like to kind of watch that, see what the block boys are up to kind of see how frequently some of these blocks are going through, right? So let's see where that comes in on Tesla. But oh boy, that 400 push, absolutely beautiful. The market is taking a little bit of a breather. We got a bit of a bid back in. So both on the ES and the NQ, you can see that NASDAQ gave us a little bit of a bounce off that 21.5, kind of reclaiming, holding this trend. And we only have about 40 minutes, Neil, until the close. So I don't know how much more. Yeah, we're running out of time here. Not too many 15-minute candles to print. Only about 10 minutes left on this 30-minute candle to print. And yeah, we're on the third last 15-minute candle currently on these markets. So how much further can we get? How much wider can we get? How much more volatile can we get in the next 40 minutes? I have no idea, but I am willing to stay here and watch the party unfold as the market continues to hold this bid and continues to hold the trend. But let's see if we get a little bit of profit taking going into the end of the day. Again, Friday, wow, Rivian. Oh boy, so it's a good thing I didn't revert this one there. I was watching
No, it did work. It worked.
I guess it worked off the initial, but it never got to VWAP there, and then you reclaim. So it's very clear that like the buying is still, the buying pressure, buyers are in charge on this day, right? We get that reversion, and yeah, the reversion kind of pulls back off of the highs. Maybe you get in at the lower highs there. Maybe you get in on the trend break consolidation if you're actually risking to the highs, and you get a bit of what is that? 3.5% pullback, about 70 pennies. Yeah, that's not bad on a $16 ticker. That is pretty solid there. But yeah, you had to be there for that one. Well, and it reclaims.
You had to hold. No, you had to hold it. I was in it. I was there, and it didn't. It could have been a bigger trade. This is the one. Just quickly, there's a couple things in the chat to get to as well. All right, 19's about to break. Also, I did reload Rigetti, but if 19 breaks, I'm getting out of that. I was in Rivian, but then it went sideways for too long after that consolidation. So either from there you get a breakdown, which I probably could have played in here, or I just kind of trailed it out at break even. So like it didn't lose, obviously, because I get short, take something out, and then a break even stop, but I also didn't give it a chance to work off of VWAP. A few things in here. Nimrod, and thank you for the super chat. Don't listen to the haters. I haven't heard any, outside of the fact someone says I'm not supposed to say how old I am.
Where are they at, though?
Fine. One man can make a difference, and you are going to be that man. Okay.
Okay.
I always want to make a difference. The only difference I want to look to make is, I'm not trying to, no one's ever trying to reinvent the wheel. Like the thing that I want the most out of life is just for my, my daughter and everyone in my family and everyone close to me to have a better life than the generation had above us, and pay it forward as much as you can. I've been trading for a very long time. I've been trading since 2003, and the number of people that I've got a chance to learn from for free on a trading floor, and other traders over the years that I've been a manager, risk manager, and all that. So I've sat next to good traders. I've learned from traders that have had way less experience than me, and ones that have had way more, and we just try to pay it forward here. So that's all we try to do, and just try to keep it as positive as we can. Oh, it's from Knight Rider. Yeah, good one. That's what the quote. I'm like, why was someone saying the haters? But the other thing I wanted to get to is Tesla is unbelievable.
Yep. Still going.
B, okay, so we didn't break 19 on Rigetti, so I guess I got a little bit of a reprieve there. QuantumScape does not break down, so no short entry on that name. It needed to hold this consolidation and break down. It didn't break down, so no trade on QS, unfortunately. AMD, Bearded Warrior Trade says, look at advanced micro devices. Man, this stock is a rocket ship as well. The stock is determined to not let me talk about it on Thursday next week when we're talking about ideas for the year, because AMD is breaking this channel. Usually I'm short AMD at resistance, no chance, because it's now breaking the top of the channel. It did it once before. Well, it's done it a couple of times, but it's only really closed above this channel a few days, and this was a clear consolidation that couldn't break it out. I can tell you right now, I was taking this break every single day that it was up there. 144.50, I was going to take that break, I was going to add at 145. It just never happened. But I feel like if it does the same thing again, the break's here, 128.5. So I'm going to mark that one down, which you can either, I'm already marking down for next week this breakout on AMD. And I'm glad I zoomed in, because that's more like 128.20. So you can write it down or not, but I'm writing in 128.20 next to AMD on my very old iPad. This thing is absolutely ancient. The only thing I use it for is a notepad to keep track of stocks and levels, because that's pretty much all it can do at this point.
Yeah, that's my old screens I use for I downloaded some reading apps on there. So I throw ebooks and stuff so I can easily read. Don't have a Kindle, but I have my sister's old iPad as well. One of the only Apple products I own. So
you're not an Apple guy either.
The only thing I like about Apple is their stock.
That's what I'm saying. I don't use their products. I just
own
their stock.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's
how it should
what I
be.
like.
But seriously, I don't even know what phone you do have. I have a Pixel,
The Samsung.
which I'm actually plugging in because I forgot to charge it last night, which I do every now and then. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I should probably charge that. Because I like to do stuff. I like to do my Wordle and Quirtle and all that kind of nonsense stuff on the train home.
True, yeah.
So I want to make sure that I actually have a working phone when I do that. But what phone do you use?
I have a Samsung.
Oh, you're Samsung.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably just, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously Android, I just was kind of curious.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like a little bit. I mean, some would argue that even Android kind of lacks a little bit of freedom there, but definitely significantly more than Apple products.
I would
Apple
agree.
products, you're kind of locked in, kind of leashed to a lot of their policies and their apps and their infrastructure as well. And sure, yeah, it works like seamlessly in between their products, which is great. But if you know how to set things up, then you can do that with other products as well. So,
Well, you know what I have a beef with?
What's up?
And maybe someone will say, why is it that because I have my entire family uses Apple products. My dad, my mom, my brother, some cousins, my in-laws, like my wife's sister, her husband. Like it's just so many of them use Apple. Like when they try to send me a video, why is it when they text me a video, it has to look like it was filmed on a potato? Like I know it got filmed on a high quality camera. I know they have they have data. What is the reason why specifically, and it's only when someone with an iPhone tries to send a video via text, it comes out looking like it was filmed on a potato?
Yeah.
Absolute nonsensical.
Oh, Ramin.
Oh, so
So
Ramin's
it's a setting on the Apple phone?
So
Okay,
basically, people that
So
use
by
it,
default.
there's a default setting that makes it trash that they haven't figured out. Well, I need to tell my brother that because I was like, look, dude, from now on, can you please just send them in like WhatsApp or something? Because please stop sending me these texts. Because like, I love my nephew. I love the family. When I get a video of like a niece or a nephew doing something cool or cute, I'd like to be able to see what they're doing. And constantly, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and it's always from an iPhone.
The quality is always kind of pushed back. But yeah, I guess that's good to know. I mean, I didn't know that.
I had no idea.
I didn't know that you had to go into your settings and kind of change that around, and then you can kind of bypass that.
You don't have to do that on Android. I tell you that much.
My Android doesn't hold my hand through a lot of things, so it's it works well for me. All right, so back to these markets here. Taking a bit of a pullback. I'm looking for that 21.5 to come in on the NASDAQ. Let's see if that'll come in. 3 bars red currently on both the, oh, damn, did I just, okay. Oof, thank God. I just hit my enter by accident. I thought I had an order ready to go. And I'm like, wait, maybe, I don't know. No, I didn't. Thankfully, I was on that screen. I was like, oh boy, did I punch into more? No, not yet. This is not the best. This is not the best spot here. But yeah, let's see if we can crack that 21.5 going into the end of the day. Only about 33 minutes left, and we're coming to 3:27 right now on the market or on the time. And Rivian continues to push up here. I saw the R and I was like, is that Rigetti?
What a beast.
Yeah,
27.
It's doing even more volume pushing up into the close currently. And yeah, here we go. As soon as I say 3 red bars, the current bar goes red to green with only about 2 minutes left. So let's see what we have in store going into the final 30 minutes of the day. I did want to check RGTI here. One of the names that has been running quite nicely. VWAP hold currently, so it hasn't really broken out yet. Let's see what Hedera has for us.
What we're going to do here is take a look at this market. It is very strong. What we're going to do here is take a look at some of the names leading the market to the upside. They're all going to be on the electronic technology, in the electronic technology sector. Why I wanted to focus on the space too is because we actually have the CES 2025 event coming up next week, January 6th. Well, it says January 7th to 10th, but I know there are some events on the 6th as well in the evening. So either way, a lot of these tech, specifically semiconductor names, are going to be on watch. You can take a look at some companies that will be presenting on Trader TV Research at TTV Research. We do have a tweet on that. But for now, we're going to take you through some of these strong semiconductor names ahead of CES. One of them is going to be Nvidia, up about 4% here for NVDA, basically announcing here alongside Cerence, we talked about that CRNC, they're going to be working on some LLM stuff, so not specifically related to NVIDIA, but great look for NVDA. Then we have AMD, which is actually at day's highs. AMD actually reportedly set to have some of its Strix models on watch there, so keep an eye on AMD with its Strix computing or Strix processors. Then we have QCOM, that is Qualcomm. Apparently their new processors also set to be in appearance there. They're Snapdragon, so keep an eye on Qualcomm, AMD, and Nvidia, both now as we head into the end of the day, but also next week at CES 2025. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara.
Thank you.
I did throw it in the chat, but you can see 19 broke, VWAP broke on Rigetti. It worked very well twice, and then we had a little bit of a win on the third time, but the fourth time through, VWAP does not hold on Rigetti. It's weird. I know I've only actually made money short the stock today, but it is looking a little bit strong in here. Joey V saying QSI is going, and I saw in the chat from Chef Joe, and shout out to Chef Joe, appreciate you, brother. But don't forget that Jan 9th, the market is closed. Well, we're here for you anyways, because when the market is closed, we're still going to do a show. We're going to come on, I believe the plan is to come on at 9 o'clock, and we're going to do a themed show of stocks of 2025, like ideas for trades and stocks to watch in 2025. So the entire team is going to go through a list of their names. We'll take Q&A questions as well. Michael Noss is going to stop through. Raheem is going to stop through as well. So we'll have some guests. So we're there for you guys. If you're just hanging out on an impromptu holiday because the market's closed to observe Jimmy Carter's passing, former President Jimmy Carter, then we got you guys locked and loaded, and we're covered.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that we have a holiday. I gotta remember that there.
A random one,
but yeah, no,
they always do it. I just forgot. It's weird because I didn't remember that they had done this for Bush, because I feel like that's the only one since I've been trading.
Oh, okay.
I don't. You guys would probably correct me on this and say, no, Neil, you've been trading over 20 years. It also happened again at this other time. But
He's 100 years old. That's impressive.
Right?
Yeah, that is a mile. Yeah,
that's no joke.
That's a milestone. Yeah, man.
I'll take it. I would take that.
Absolutely amazing.
For sure.
Yeah,
so get your questions ready. Like if you have questions about, sort of like longer time frame, because the market won't be open. Like we won't get distracted by, oh my goodness, this stock is moving. Now I forgot what I was about to tell you guys about Adobe. Let's just say.
Bit of a I don't know if you guys heard me while Neil was talking. I was like, oh my God, what is that? Selling started on the spider there with a 20 penny flush. We're getting some continuation here back to the downside. So yeah, the beginning of the last 30-minute candle here, getting some aggressive selling. Let's see if we start to break down some of these levels. Again, only about 30 minutes left and 20 minutes left until imbalances, Neil. So, oh boy. Indeed. Oh boy, and here we come. There's the selling. Hello, sellers. Missed you a little bit there. You were there yesterday and you looked so beautiful. And now you're back. And dressed in red. Oh boy, red is my favorite color. I don't know if you knew that, Neil.
I didn't, because you literally never wear red.
I mean, I don't have an all red outfit. Maybe I should do that. I wore the red sweater for Christmas. That was
but you could hardly say red is your favorite color if you don't have an all. Like you gotta
like an all red.
Yeah, just pimp it out.
I mean, back in the day, because
that's essentially what you would look like if you wore like an all red outfit. Yeah. Like it's probably
all red tracksuit. Yeah, I know. I mean,
tracksuit.
Yeah, that's what I have that.
You're like you could like a
double from high school days.
You could dress up as Squid Game for Halloween.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
You ever watch that show?
Squid Game.
Squid Game, yeah.
I think I started watching like the first season a little bit, but I never really finished it. But I know you said it's similar to Alice in Borderlands.
Ish. It's not.
I really like Alice in Borderland a lot. Like that was a really good show. There falls the bull. Oh no, is that a bad omen?
Does that mean the market's going down? So QS just broke trend, so I didn't get into that QS. What did I do?
Come on.
What?
You can't. If you drop the bull, you know what's going to happen to the market.
The market's going to drop? The market that's up 1.16% on the ES, 1.59 on the NASDAQ. No, it actually is coming back in a little bit. Here, they are both bulls.
Yeah, but the bull falling to the ground as the market.
I mean, today the market's been going up, so I feel very good about leaving the bulls on there, even if you take some shorts here and there.
So that 21.5 coming in there as of right now. I did. You know what? With that accidental punch of that enter might have been a great ad because that was 592s. We're trading 591 halves right now. What's that? So are we matching? Yeah, a little bit.
It's like gray and blue and blue and gray.
Blue and gray, yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Like all day long, and
There's a dress code
Ramin's laughing
we have
at
around here.
because I didn't
in the
even
morning
get that.
they send us an email being like, these are the colors you should
Nobody
be
ever
wearing.
sends it to me.
Yeah.
You know how many times the entire team is wearing all white, and then I'm the only one not wearing white on the day?
Yeah.
Ramin is
like,
now saying, because you can't
rewrite
ever
the
hear
whole
Ramin, that we get a script of what stocks to trade, where to trade them, exactly, which is amazing because that would be nice. I would love to have that.
I would love to know that I would be selling SPY
Yeah.
finally at 592 halves, and that would be a little bit of the turn earlier on. If I knew that,
You would just wait for it.
Yeah, but then it's in the script that you keep on trying until, you gotta, I'm joking. Now I'm just,
You know what else is in the script?
tinfoil hat, tinfoil suit.
Michelle Meir. I agree with this because I just started watching Squid Game season 2. I loved season 1, and Squid Game season 2 is boring. It takes way too long to get into the action. Whatever. Like I'm not going to spoil anything in there, but I just feel like it's a little slow. I'll just leave. I'll leave it at that.
You watched
But
the whole season?
I'm not finished season
Okay.
2.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
like
you
it's-
started watching it.
I try watching. I get like a little bit each night because I go to bed early, and I'm more of an early riser, so I watch maybe like 20, 30 minutes, like half an episode I get through each day.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of TV time, so sometimes I'm watching on my phone. What's not boring? Okay, so QS we got into the short, but who cares?
Nice.
Tesla just got to 410-ish.
Yeah.
As it continues to ride higher. It's already past 330, so the early look on the imbalances, which we're going to show you right now. FXI. We've seen this before. Sometimes this will move on an imbalance. 3 million is not insignificant. TD Bank again shows up on here for a sell of 2 million. We've seen Pfizer a bunch of times, BNS, another Canadian bank there. So nothing really that striking. Nvidia, you can tell by the time, that's from the morning on the NASDAQ. So nothing really big, with maybe the exception of FXI worth keeping an eye on. Every now and then you'll see that move at the close on the imbalances. Let's go up to the desk and take care of some business.
This part of the show is brought to you by eSignal. Trade smarter, not harder. You can upgrade to an elite trading experience that can help you analyze, strategize, capitalize. Foresee profitable opportunities with the platform that you need. There's also infinite data, which can lead to instant trading. So you know where the market's moving before others because you'll have access to lightning fast data as well as charts that change the game. Customize and analyze markets faster in your way. With better backtesting and scanning, predict the future by understanding the past. You'll also be able to access reliable real-time data with up-to-the-second market info from hundreds of global markets. That's everything you need all in one place. So don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. Are you ready to elevate your trading? Scan that QR code, click the link in the description. Thank you, eSignal.
Thank you very much, Adara there. SOUN apparently is going down, so says Randeep in the chat a couple times. I actually typed in SoundHound instead of SOUN. Kind of weird. Yeah, look, maybe just a technical break. It's enough volume. I didn't hear anything. It's enough volume that it matters, but probably not enough of a flush. I think it just flat bottom broke the 21 even level, which would be an obvious sort of, that's not really a double bottom, but support there, lose VWAP, lose 21. I think you just got a little bit of a technical break. It still looks pretty good to 19 on the daily chart. So I'd say healthy pullback into 19 on SOUN, like prior highs in here being tested as we speak, and then the 19 levels your support. Yeah, this is one I just didn't want to chase it, and we talked about it earlier. I wasn't thinking short, but when you've got lower highs and lower lows, not really my jam for a late day runner. Technically a bull flag, but you can always find stronger stocks. Like if I was going to force the long up here, probably should have been Tesla trying to get back into it. But a SoundHound up 2 points, still okay on the day, but I don't like that one bit, losing VWAP. Tesla just broke 410, so it is now completely filled in the move. So we had all of that panic yesterday only to fill the entire move back in here today. I'll admit I'm the last person to have seen it coming. I like the 400 break, but I did not like it this far. Kind of liked it to in here, and unfortunately you're going to see Tesla. Well, unfortunately I own it in the long term and didn't sell anything. So happy with that, but missed an opportunity I think to dip buy on Tesla yesterday. That's how it goes. So sometimes you get that move down, and it's like if you like an ad in your personal account, sometimes you just pull the trigger here instead of waiting for there. But I can be patient. I didn't sell anything up top, so that's why I wasn't that eager to buy. But man, Tesla's absolutely relentless on good volume. this afternoon. Like it's sustaining the volume the entire way through as we speak, despite the fact the market's coming back in here. You know, like nothing else is really flying up that I can see.
You know, a bit of a bid coming back in. So we did bounce pretty cleanly, might I add, off of that 21.5 on the Nasdaq. So the level did come in and a clean kind of bounce, kind of holding that trend that we've been having for pretty much the whole day here. Coming, especially kind of after this pullback around midday, and then we get that continuation. But off of opening range highs there, the bid kind of coming in right off of or what is this, 9 a.m. pulls back about 10:15ish, and then we get that continuation there. For a push all the way up from, what is this, almost 21,200s, the consolidation in the morning session, overnight session as well, consolidation above that level here, and then a push for about a 300-point run there on the NASDAQ as well. So let's see what we got going into the last 20 minutes of the day here, Neil. And this 592 on the Spider holding quite well. Saw that Adam DeLuz in the chat. How you doing, bro? Sent a message with what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4 red circles there. Interestingly enough, I have no idea what that means. Absolutely no idea.
I missed it.
I'm thinking and hoping maybe it has something to do with a short, because I know he definitely participates in some of these market trades.
You got to explain this one.
Yeah, I have no idea what.
Adam.
Yeah.
Adam, just pop in. What do
you mean?
What does that mean?
He's saying I'm with you to the downside for the SPY. See,
oh, there you go. So he's looking short as well. Okay, that makes sense. See, that's not obvious.
I mean,
there's no need to be so cryptic here.
I think I got it.
Well, at least you got it. I mean, it's red, I suppose. I just saw this chat here. Adara, Neil, will you guys be doing any more of those free contests this year? Like, just for fun? Which contests are we referring to?
Contest?
Yeah, what contests? Mile High Momo, what contests? Because I'm very curious as well. I like a good contest. I'm just not sure what it is that you're referring to.
I think the last contest I remember was with you and Sharif.
I had a contest against Sharif. That wasn't a contest.
No, it wasn't?
So Sharif did the Bring Sally Up challenge.
Well, challenge, contest.
And I was like, I can't do it. But like, he did such a good effort that I think I lost a bet and had to do it. So when I lost a bet, I did it. And then Sharif kind of did it. I don't remember the reason he did it. But yeah, I still am trying to get through that entire song for push-ups, but I'm not there yet. Let's go to Adara. Maybe she knows.
So getting Microbot Medical here, I think it's worth mentioning because as we head into the end of the day, this thing is making new day's highs. I'm seeing it pop up here on the scanner, which is why I looked at it in the first place. No news that I can find, but it does have the word bot in it, and we know for whatever reason, these robotic stocks have been pretty strong today. ARBE was moving earlier, MPOT, RR, and now this IRBT as well earlier. So keep an eye on MBOT. It does look like Microbot Medical is part of this overall robotics phase. We know that we are potentially expecting some robotics-related headlines to come out of that conference, the CES 2025 next week. So that could be on watch. 16.26 million share float, market cap of about $35 million with 3.5% short float for MBOT. Make sure to like and subscribe as we head into the second show of 2025. Almost done here, guys.
Okay, so there's a couple of things people suggested for contests in here, and I'll tell you right now, there will, Zurab, like the hot chip contest, I can promise you, we have no issues doing some fun stuff on the show for you guys. But that Packy chip challenge, I'm not doing anything like that again. And I like spicy food. I'm not doing like that. No, like that's a hard no. Partly because like I remember we did it, and it's just like, you know, one day like my daughter's gonna watch back some of that stuff. Like people have actually hurt themselves doing that challenge. I'm like, oh man, and it was really tough to do. Like it's not like a regular hot wing or a hot chip. It's like that nonsense.
Units on that thing?
I don't know, a couple million or something. Like it's ridiculous. Like I've had wings that were like 500,000-600,000 on the Scoville. True. And like, okay, that's doable. Like you're not gonna. That was chemical warfare. That thing. I'm not doing it again. No, seriously. I'm not to demean. I'm just saying like, it wasn't even food. Yeah. Like it was so bad, and it's as bad as you could possibly imagine to it. But Ozan, I think Ozan thinks they mean Jeopardy. That was fun. I'd love to do that. We can do that again at some point. Yeah. for sure.
No, that chip challenge sounds fun, man. I
No,
mean,
it's not. You didn't do it.
You haven't had food at my parents' house, so.
I will. Obi, you got to be.
I think it was
don't want- you don't
my
want
grandfather used to say that if you're not sweating while you're eating, are you really eating?
You don't. I don't think you understand
The
this
level
packy
of
chip.
spice, kind of.
I come from West Indian family. I know spicy food. I don't think you understand this chip challenge.
Okay.
But if you want to do it, I'll tell you
Have
right
you had
now.
Armageddon at Duff's?
That's the wing I'm talking. I've done it like a half a dozen times.
Okay.
Armageddon wing is basically like
It's
like
pretty rough.
It's like
yeah.
siracha compared to the packy chip.
Oh wow.
They're not even in the same. Trust me, Obi. You do not. As a friend, you don't want this.
Okay.
You really, really don't want to do it. But if you want to do it,
I'll heed your advice.
But if you want to do it, I can
not...
order one on Amazon right now. We can do this next week.
You want to do a
Because it's
challenge?
literally one. No, you could do it. I'm not doing it.
Oh, you
could
just
do
said
it.
we.
No. Oh yeah, my bad. I mean, like on the show. No, I'm
What
not
do you
doing it.
mean?
I'm just saying, but if you really want to.
Okay. I mean,
And
maybe.
El
I'm
Solo,
always up for a
El
challenge.
Solo, this is the best part. And it's gross tasting too. At least with the Armageddon wings, which by the way, Duff's
they
here in
taste really
Toronto,
good.
it's like the best like hot wings in Toronto. If you ever come to Toronto, their hottest wing, it still tastes good.
You gotta sign a
That's
piece
the
of
whole
paper.
point.
Yeah.
Well, when I've done it, you have to sign it before. They ring a bell and everything. It's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
If you get the Armageddon.
no.
No, you seriously don't. Corey's like,
sign a
don't
piece
do
of
it.
paper.
Camel in the chat, you don't want to do it. And then a few people saying, do it, do it. There's always some disturbers in there. Obi is not doing this challenge, okay?
If Wayne
Wayne.
if Wayne does it with me, all right, come on, Wayne.
Yelling from over. Wayne's like right back here. He sits on the bridge and one of the floor managers, risk managers here. Yeah, he's not doing it. It's bad. Beer challenge says Hades.
It's a trap.
It's not. A trap would suggest that you don't know what's coming. Like in this particular case,
I would know.
You know what you're doing is stupid. That's Wayne.
There's Wayne. What's up, Wayne?
You wouldn't know it's winter. The guy's got the ankle socks on and the running shoes.
Oh, he's waving. No, where'd the camera go? Come on, get back.
We got like a foot of snow. It's like 15
There, you go.
degrees.
There he
like
is.
-15.
Hey.
What's up, Wayne?
Hey, yo. Oh, he's hiding. He's hiding. He's blurry.
Why is it so blurry? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Nice. That hat is epic, man. That hat, the cowboy
He's
hat.
never
is
wearing the
absolute-
hat though.
No, you see him wearing it every now and then. It's a good luck trading hat. I still remember on the show, I was sitting here, I was kind of in the zone, and he came and put it on my head, and I was like, I am not,
that.
like, it's been put on, I am not removing this. I think we had a couple good trades as well.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. 46s, oh boy.
What happened?
4 more minutes until imbalance is needed.
Yeah, only 3. Well, it's actually 3 minutes till imbalances come out. So probably not putting anything else. I did grab that what looked like a good reversion on QS. It's trying to go, but not a very big fallback in here. So it broke this trend, took the short. It's not really doing heavy. Just looking for a pullback into VWAP on this one, but I don't think we're going to get VWAP. So I'm going to tighten up the stop here to break even because it's so late in the day. Essentially, we're just looking to try to risk 3 or 4 pennies to make 10 to 15. And I don't think we're going to get that big of a move on this. I still have a stop on something else. I have a stop on Carvana that I did not need, so that's now canceled. Yeah. I'll just get out if it goes break even on this. Tesla is turning off of that 410, so be careful. Nvidia just tried to make a run, tried and did not go. Nvidia's got a wall of selling in front of 145, everybody. Like this is what we call, you can call it, it counts as accumulation as well, but 144.65. Look at all of it, just cannot bust through. It just tried there again. It'd be interesting if you get a sell imbalance on Nvidia. And then remember, companies that buy back their stock or have open buybacks can't buy back stock in the last 10 minutes. So oftentimes when you have things at these highs that are those types of types of names, you will see them fall to the downside. Willis Addison, thank you for the super chat in here. Of course, to spicy chip or not to chip? That is the question. Appreciate the super chat. There you go. And Matt Bradshaw, Neil, if I join your floor, do I have to wear pants? Yes, you do.
Shorts work.
Yeah, people.
I mean, good luck in the wintertime.
Well, we had when Sean and I had our floor, not when it wasn't like not this floor, it was a different location, but we had our own floor. There was one dude who, like, we didn't have a dress code, but he always came in like wife beaters. And like at one point we're just like, okay, we've taken it a little bit too far with the no dress code thing. Maybe not the wife beater every single day in the summer, but.
Yeah. So we're getting some.
You do have to have cool glasses at some point.
Yeah. I got my I put my sunglasses away. You know. Can't.
You don't wear your sunglasses at night?
They're too powerful.
No, nothing.
Too much power. All right, so 591's coming in as the market cracks down. So
Literally
hello,
doesn't make any sense.
a little bit of follow through going into about a minute left for imbalances there. So I'm kind of piecing off a little bit there. I do want to hold some into the imbalances there to see if we can get down into VWAP. 590s is VWAP here on the spider. So yeah, this is what I'm saying. I was kind of just posting orders and getting insta filled, Neil, on some gates, and I was like, oh boy. Definitely just selling everything right now as the market kind of cracks and gives us a bit of reversion going into the close. Only about 15 seconds left here on the day. And oh boy, Adam Deleuze, man, this trade's working out quite well here as of right now, especially if you're short off off of that. Exactly, Adam to win. We got to change his name. Who do we talk to do that? Imbalances time. Oh boy, I forgot about that one there. Let's see if there's anything
big.
Significant.
H-band,
there.
whatever that is. Intel's a sell of 1.5. Nvidia 1.2 million to the sell. Nvidia 1.2 is not very big, everybody, so it's not that big of a deal. And Open is a $1 stock, so that's not significant. Yeah, it's really just a small one on Nvidia for 1.2, Intel 1.5 for a stock as cheap as it is. It's also not a big deal there. So whatever HBAN is, I don't know the stock. What is HBAN?
9105 we got down to. Damn.
Huntington? Okay, it's a decent size imbalance on this. 1.7 million into a 7.8 million volume on whatever HBAN happens to be. But yeah, I don't like it. It's kind of top heavy in there. There might be an index action or something that could be happening here, but looks like a little bit of a nothing burger on the imbalances. Though
TD's kind of
that can be good because when you have the market moving in direction, like you've got it to the downside, the imbalances aren't going to make it revert to the upside there. Be careful. I say this every time. Yeah, TD. If TD shows up, that was before 350. I don't even see it after. Even if it was, a lot of times what will happen is at 350, it's a Canadian bank, so the imbalance comes out in Canada, so it can be an early look in the NYSE of 2.2 million, but remember, its primary market is Toronto, so the imbalance in Toronto matters more, and that's why you never want to chase those ones. TD, BNS, any of those Canadian banks, dual listed.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I've been trading, I guess yesterday I traded some SPY as well, trading it again today. Again, a little too aggressive initially, but finally kind of caught a bit of the move there off of some levels. Coming back into 591, not really quite pulling back into VWAP just yet, but guess what? Tesla continues to bid up into the close. Absolutely wild with less than 10 minutes now, 8 minutes. We got some breaking news with Adara. What's up?
Just be aware of DJT here. I'm seeing some reports apparently that a New York judge has ordered Donald Trump to appear for a sentencing here on January 10th. So that would be next Friday, a week from today. Keep an eye on DJT. Not too much of a move here, but worth noting. Could be on watch here for January 10th, guys. Back to you.
It'll somehow go up on that. Well, okay, it's not. It's kind of pulling back in here. I was going to say, like, somehow that's going to be good press for DJT. This stock has been pretty dead, but as I look at it, hey, there seems to be a bid at 33 on DJT. So if you've got a long enough consolidation on a stock that can possibly squeeze, look for a trend reversion. I like this, like the trend reversion when it's just tanking is much better, but yeah, it looks kind of interesting. Like you could flat into this and then maybe it breaks out, or you could just get a flat bottom break on that day, but not a heck of a lot going on. Well, 7 minutes to go in here. You've got to be kidding me, Tesla. Tesla is 411. Wow. The simple fact that it looked like, yeah, Tesla was probably done for the day and balances are coming in. The squeeze is still happening here on Tesla. Oh, just why couldn't you have done this breakout on Monday? Like, just don't fill in this gap. Can we just all hope that Tesla doesn't fill too much of this gap in? Because up to 425, like that's a good size 410 to 425 gap that you'd love to be able to take advantage of when there's a full day for it to go. So I think that's on my wish. 411 already and still bleeding. It is an absolute rocket ship. You had to be long at some point on Tesla. I would say, like, just because you start liking a stock for the short, at some point acknowledge that it's the other way, and it doesn't matter if you're late, just try to get in at some point. Find an entry when a stock trends like this, and then try to find another when you get out. So, you know, it's actually my best stock today, but it's like a fraction of what it could be. Like it could be your best stock of the, I was going to say of the month, but it's literally the second day of the month. And I can't say of the year because it's the second day of the year as well.
I mean,
but you know what I mean. You know what I'm getting at. Yeah.
So I pretty much covered decent, I guess, over 90% of the position there. As we hold 591s, I didn't even see that it tested 591.05s there on the spider there, but you can see the aggressive bid coming in on the NASDAQ as well. But the ES, not as aggressive just yet. VWAP all the way down at 590s. I don't know if we're going to get there. We've only been making higher highs and higher lows as well. Here comes a bit of a pairing event here at 55, so about 15 seconds left for that one there. But we're about a point away off of the highs there, so let's see how far the spider will take us on the day. So 91s currently, but oh boy, look at Tesla, man. Tesla is aggressive, continuing to push.
Nuts.
Fresh highs here.
Just pull back.
Yeah, okay, there it is. So a bit of a sell imbalance, I'm assuming, on Tesla here. I don't really see it anywhere in amongst the larger names.
MSTR just did a topping tail candle as well.
There, boom. So
I think it could just be maybe a reverse event.
yeah.
Like Tesla just came through 411. MSTR just dropped $4 off the highs at the same moment that Tesla made that little bit of a right turn. So it was more or less simultaneous. Tesla fell back through 411, and then MicroStrategy, the only stock which was probably more impressive than Tesla today, failed a triple top breakout there. Bitcoin did not get to 100,000. We got to 99-ish and have pulled back a little bit, but I think this MSTR pullback is more of the same. AK asking what I hold CRNC for tomorrow. Short answer, we don't. We're day traders. And you kind of know how I feel about these things. I say it almost every single time. It's one thing if you are long a stock down here and holding something for the dream. It's another thing.
Oh my God.
It's another thing if you're long up here and trying to hold it for overnight. Okay, that's an absolute no-fly zone for me. I don't like holding things like that. For me, I can't find a risk reward that ends up working. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty much nothing burger. It is what it is. If you're deep in the money, that's one thing. If you bought the afternoon top into massive resistance, I don't know that I would do that. We only have 3 minutes to go, and I have to get up to the desk and get ready for the aftermarket show. I believe we're going to be joined, well, obviously I'll be joined by Adara, but also by Raider Trader who's going to be stopping in. Okay. So we'll have a little bit of fun in the aftermarket. Get your questions locked and loaded and ready. Thanks for filling in. Obi, good luck with SPY for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
I'll see you guys up at the desk.
Thank you very much, Neil. Always dropping that knowledge, that Neilage, and I'm always grateful once again to sit beside another great trader here on the day. Again, Neil's you know what? I always like to kind of be like, okay, what do you think about this? What do you? And I hope Neil doesn't mind me picking his brain at certain ideas, but you know,
Never.
We. Again, it's always great to have somebody beside you that you can kind of bounce ideas, ask questions, ask perspectives, especially when it's somebody who's been trading for so long, like Sean and Neil. So grateful to kind of have that here. But yeah, no. Today was pretty lackluster, I would say here. Yeah, nothing too crazy, nothing to write home about here, but definitely some lessons learned on my part. A bit aggressive here, but I did well kind of keeping it tight. Sure, getting paper cut, but a little distinctly different from how I usually fight the trend, where I'm kind of holding a little excessively against me. Sure, I gave back a decent chunk of my day, but when it comes back in, kind of reclaim some of that there. But definitely lessons to be learned here about a bit of patience, waiting for, even Neil turned around to me and he's like, yeah, instead of shorting this aggressive trend, why don't you wait for a significant break of trend here? And that did come in a little aggressively, and off of what we saw at that 592.60s day high currently on the spider. We got that pullback off of that 6,000 level, didn't really get to 6,000 all the way, and then we got the retest of that 21.5 on the NASDAQ as well. So Nice little pullback going into the end of the day. But if you were long, that was definitely the trade here on the day. Still continuing to make higher highs and higher lows, mainly higher lows here above VWAP. Extended off of VWAP are both these futures, the ES and the NASDAQ. So let me know what you guys have traded today. And we only have a few more minutes, actually one more minute here until the bell rings. But I'm sure we can talk about it in the chat. And don't forget, don't go anywhere. We got Neil and Adara with the market recap here. So with only about a minute left, you know what? I should probably get out of this position here before I do that. So let me just do that real quick. And if it'll have me, I will take it off there. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. Okay, well, it doesn't want to do that either, so I'll do that. Okay, cool. Out back when it reclaims those 592s there. So I don't know why I wasn't accepting my order there, but I guess it didn't like that kind of order at this time. So with about 10 seconds left and Indira at the bell, let's see how the market closes here. A bit of a bid here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you very much there. So yeah, we did close above 21.5. So that's definitely a good look there. Kind of an interesting level nonetheless. And there goes the spider chopping up that 592 level. That 592 showing up yesterday as well in the pre-market session. That was an interesting action as well. Bit of a held offer alongside with increased RVOL. If you go throw up some relative volume on your spider charts there and take a look at yesterday's pre-market action and how we acted for the rest of the day based off of that action, that was definitely some interesting stuff that I learned some things, learned a thing or two off of. Yeah, so interesting opportunities in this market nonetheless. Lots of opportunities. If you were long today, good on you, and a strong close to the end of the week there. A lot of red to green action here as well. So without any further ado, hope you guys enjoy your weekend. I'm going to pass it back to Neil and Adara at the big desk for your market recap. So stick around, don't go anywhere, guys. Take it easy.
Thank you very much, Obi. I just observed something, and we've talked and joked about this here at Trader TV Live, that all of last year, anytime Adara wore red, the market would be down.
Very down.
But when she wore green, it didn't really, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But this is a new year. So a new year, we started red yesterday. It is a sea of green today, led by Tesla, led by Nvidia, led by deliveries on Rivian, led by deliveries by good numbers from Ford and GM. And Adara's in the green, so I think you got the Midas touch there for us. Appreciate that. What poor deliveries for Tesla? What are we even talking about? You're now above where it was when they came out. You've got to be kidding me. 411, 412 now is still going higher. 412, this is continuing to go higher there on Tesla. We dumped at 410 when they had year-over-year decline in deliveries for the first time, and now you are filling in the entirety of the gap. The NASDAQ is blasting. You can see there's pretty much no red on the ETF board. Gold is down a little bit here, but not even that big of a move. As mentioned, Rivian did have the deliveries too, and they had a fantastic number and a great print. Nvidia did a heck of a lot of heavy lifting for the chips as well. This closing up 4.5% on Nvidia, not to be left alone. Even AMD up 4 points today. It's just an unbelievable rally. So I can tell you this much, Adara. When Michael Laws kept coming on saying the thing you got to watch out for in the early part of the year was 5 consecutive red days and a red January. Well, that now can't happen. No. Because the market was up, and it was up very solidly.
It was up very solidly. It was a great look today here for sure. We had a lot of those utility continuations as well. We had CEG and VST continuing to push to the upside. Also, even, Boeing trying to bounce a little bit off that 170, could not hold that bounce off 170. But yeah, I think that Tesla will be really interesting going forward. Of course, everyone's looking at Tesla, but the fact that we sold off so aggressively yesterday and bounce pretty much brought back that entire move there.
Unbelievable.
So it's a crazy look here. I think TSLA and Nvidia, who are two of I would say the most volatile Mag 7 names, continuing to show their volatility. We'll have to see what they give us this year, but it's sure to be an exciting year. And I will say, I think the real test of my outfit powers will be FOMC, because I wore red at the last FOMC meeting, fully thinking we'd be green. and then we dropped 3%. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Either way, I really don't plan this. I just do it for fun.
Yeah, we tried some longs on that FOMC day and probably should have paid more attention to the red that you're wearing. No, it's just something we do for a little bit of fun here, and it's like a nice little fun inside joke for everybody. But when it does work, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. The other news today, it wasn't all good everywhere. There was, of course, U.S. Steel, the Nippon deal, essentially axed by the Biden government, despite the fact that some late concessions were offered by Nippon that unfortunately didn't seem to matter. They get a union behind it, down 6% and change. I think it caught a little bit of a bid for a couple of reasons. There's still the outside chance that even if this fell through, that maybe Cleveland-Cliff would come back and look at a deal again. They pulled out of this, but they could easily always come back. So that down 7%. But for the most part, it was a great day. We had recently talked about the uranium names, the nuclear energy names having some trouble. URA has been in a big pullback. Now, all of a sudden, this looks a heck of a lot better. We didn't talk much about SMR. I want to rectify that in a quick second. So URA pulling back into hopefully the 200-period moving average, and some of these names finally got back into the upside. So NewScale has been, SMR, had been bleeding. You'd have now you've got a nice support level at a prior high once and twice. You bounced off 17. The next step, hold this 50-period moving average to the upside, because SMR is starting to look a little bit more interesting. I don't like catching falling knives. And to me, the way I look at these is, hey, it's like the quantum moves. Like, these guys don't make money. They got a negative EPS, right? So you got to be very careful how you try to add into these, because every single dip can trend right back into oblivion when you have a company that's not making any money yet. So I do like the space for long term, but I got to be careful nibbling in. Yeah, you take some profit, but that doesn't mean I'm going to take the first available bid back in on SMR. There's a heck of a lot that we can go through. One other thing I wanted to try to grab is, if you look at what's going on, FXI had a strong day, 1.7, closing on the highs. But on this daily chart, it's starting to look a little bit better. It's it's not a flat bottom, but you are getting a bit of a downward sloping wedge, and now you're trying to get the 50-period again into this support on FXI. So I have my eyeballs again on Alibaba, because Alibaba, and the reason I said FXI, I'm not invested in FXI, I don't really trade it, but Alibaba, when I note this, all of these holds of the 200-period moving average on the daily, while trying to break out the trend, Baba's setting up pretty nicely for another break. Like a little bit of a break in here past 86 and then past 88, giving it back into that 200-period moving average. It's starting to set up really, really well. I know we're going to have Andrew Rader on a quick little second, but that Boeing 170 level, it was a great bounce. But now I'm scared of the other thing, Adara, because you can only bounce so many times off a level like that. Maybe it could be flat bottom breaking.
And there's a level on Boeing. And I will say this. On the daily chart, I think it's 15. If you look at, I'll pull it up here, 169.35s. If we break 169.35s, because we've broken below 170, both yesterday and today, but we bounced off 169.35s. Now, the other level I was looking for is to get a hold above 172.80 in any kind of salient way, because that was a bit of resistance yesterday. We cannot get that. So now I actually think Boeing is a dope short. Now, why do I like 169.35s? That would be this. Wait, where is this? There's a reason I like this. Oh, there it is. Okay. If you go back enough here, you do find that 169.35 level, which is going to be some of this previous resistance going back to like mid-December. So that 169.35s to me is the clearest potential level of support. If we break 169.35s, I know what I'm doing that way. But that's just my take on BA. I think this slow trickle to the downside is really appealing. And also, I just want to point out really quickly, for one, we have Fed's cooler talking. She's not saying anything super significant. We know that Fed's Barkin had pretty hawkish comments earlier today. But it is worth noting as well, I'm seeing some reports from Axios that Tim Cook, who is the CEO of Apple, reportedly donating $1 million to Trump's inauguration.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me. I mean, this time around, everyone's trying to get in on the party. Look, they control pretty much across the board. You did have Johnson, I guess, regain the speaker's position, which probably brings some stability. We saw the prison name start to move to the upside. Geo caught a bit of a bid off of that. But I kind of with you, begrudgingly on Boeing, because I did add to my long-term position in Boeing when it held the 200-period moving average, that if we lose this flat bottom, the 50 period's $10 underneath. Well, I'm not really planning, it wasn't a trade. This was a buy. I'm like, I've been waiting for an opportunity to get back into Boeing after selling some. Should have sold it all and then got back in. No, I was looking for a spot to hold it in the long term. If it was a trade, I'd probably be covering at the 50-period moving average, but this is a long-term hold. I kind of still feel like the worst is gone here for Boeing, and it's a long trend down. I think it's made a decent bottom, and we can still see the 200s. But temporarily, flat bottom break incoming. I'm just waiting for the go-ahead, because you guys tell me when we are locked and loaded and ready for our good friend and Trader Talk with Andrew Rader. Oh, Astronaut Andrew. Is that the thing?
Sorry, guys. I didn't know you were there. I was too busy going to the moon in my private jet, or private rocket. Yeah.
If you can get to the moon in a jet, then you're on a whole nother level, Andrew. So you might as well just keep it at that. First off, Happy New Year, of course.
Happy New Year, guys.
Appreciate having you back in there. How were your holidays? How was the holidays?
Great. I'm actually the camera quality is a little cooked since the background because I'm sitting in an airport right now. I am waiting to drop off my special woman. She is flying back, and then I drive back to my place. So.
Well, there you go. We appreciate you coming from the airport, coming on the show and keeping keeping us in your heart.
The information I had to, I couldn't just skip this. So we have to talk about that, Neil.
Okay, well, that suggests to me that you've got some banger ideas out there, which we usually try to pry out of you. Because what I've found, and from the times that we've had conversations, it's very difficult to get you to share ideas with us. You tend to keep it tight to the vest and not want to be forthcoming.
I like to say cautiously bullish on things because I don't like to be wrong. So
I know we joke, of course. No, I think one of the things that we appreciate, and for us when we're doing a live show and trading, we got to be transparent. This is what we're doing. This is what we believe in here. So it's a new year, new themes. What's the front of your mind as we get? We've got a great day today, I think. Certainly, some big rallies.
Cool. So we'll just chat about a little things. Of course, last week we mentioned a lot about some of the smaller cap names like LUNR, OKLO, some of these other guys, MPW, the short squeeze kind of names, getting somewhat of a rally. But we also talked more kind of subjectively around the general market of that we expect more bearishness to return to the markets. And, when you ask why is that? Well, if you want to just quickly share my screen real quick, one of the key components and one of the key market dynamic changes that we've noticed specifically in the last few weeks is when we had that 3% day in the markets, which was by one of the biggest intraday drops within 2 years, you had the PC only go up to around 0.899, but then the next day just absolutely tank, and within 2 days we're back below 0.5, which means almost no one was choosing to hedge. They weren't scared. Bulls were not very cautious about this. They were comfortable. They were in this idea, and so mechanically something is changing in the markets, and we talked about that after quad witching, which of course was in December 20th. You get a huge rotation of money. And it seems that money managers, markets in general, are not starting to prepare like they were earlier in the year for a drop. And that is, of course, the best time to drop. If you look at the open interest chains, which again, if you guys don't know, options do move the underlying. I talk about this all the time, that options do create bottoms and they do create tops. They do create certain market dynamics. Because of the huge revolution into U.S. equities over the last 10 years, options have gotten a huge grip over the markets and how the market makers balance the markets around them. And you can see right here, this is just the simple put walls. Orange are the amount of puts. You can see that while we do have a growing number of put walls here closer to the money, that really all of them are microscopic compared to what we saw in June, even the last few months, September, October. These were incredibly small walls compared to them. We had levels over 150K open interest on QQQ and SPY. We're just not getting that now. So that's really the main focus. How I kind of, and this is kind of funny, Neil, you mentioned this earlier, that the imbalances were a nothing burger. And that was kind of the theme that we were expecting into January. Bearishness into the first 2 weeks, so into January 10th. But overall, just a nothing burger in the markets, that this is a time to raise capital rather than burn it.
I tend to like that look. We should at least acknowledge AWAKENS got back to, I think it's 52-week highs. Is it an all-time high? I'll double check. Is it all-time high? Because I'm not looking at a weekly here, but certainly retesting 52-week highs in a triple top. So we've seen a few of the names in the space. We're sort of talking about what was happening with URA, and I happen to like SMR, potato. They all made good rallies today. What's your outlook? Because I think some people would look at if there's bearishness in the market, and certainly a lot of things are at resistance level. I could point to the RSP not looking that fantastic and still in a bit of a downward trend. I can point to the Russell really not looking all that good. You've got the nuclear names and you've got the quantum names, which none of these companies are really making money, and they've had that high fly. So what do you do when you get a gain like this if you're thinking there's a little bit of bearishness? Do you say, okay, well, it's different. This is just a swing trade. I can hold on because I'm in the money. Or are you a little bit quicker to pull the trigger to cover given the environment that you see?
So really great question. So especially during these times, stocks like that, the quantum names, and also the things like LUNR, OKLO, the nuclear energy kind of stuff, you have to be very careful because remember, guys, that markets are future looking. And I'll give an example. I'll tie this to the SPY. But right now you have a lot of these names popping off, all-time highs, PLTR, all these stocks are booming. And you go and look and you go, well, I want to add some into 2025. That's not really what you want to do because these names are kind of in their funding stage, especially recent IPOs, things like that. They get this big boost in capital, but then they kind of drag lower and they sink lower, waiting for some sort of news or for the company to actually prove itself. So while I don't think there's an opportunity with Edge and any of those names left for me, I got out of most of my LUNR calls and OKLO. I'm still holding for January 17th. But these kind of names, I don't think there are much edge in that. With that being said, tying that to the SPY, what you actually want to focus on moving forward, guys, is since this is a new year, you actually want to do the leader-lagger strategy that I always talk about, that during certain times of the year, certain kind of baskets of stocks known as leaders and laggers, the stocks that outperformed in 2024, you'll want to look at those to see some kind of continuation trade. So if you want to share my screen just real quick, if you actually look at the performance of certain stocks right here, sorry, I'll go to industries first. So this is from Quad Witching. So where they're funneling money in from the last big expiration, where again, money expires off derivatives, money managers come and they put it back into the markets. What you actually see is names like Jets, Energy, Semiconductors, so AVGO, even some other names like Solars, ENPH, these kind of names that are outperforming. TAN, of course, has been a lagger in 2024, but the outperformers like Jets, things like that, you want to look long in those. So in my biggest perspective, aim for February, April, or May calls in airlines as well, be a dip buyer in airlines. The leaders of 2024 like AVGO, GE, General Electric, airlines like UAL, these kind of names you want to buy the dip in, but also you want to be a buyer in the most beaten down names, as if we do start to consolidate in the markets, that rotation from December will start to bleed off into those names, and that's going to really help the most beaten down names like Solar. So ENPH would be my call there.
Yeah, I think every time we have the conversation about solar, it's like, understand that it's been a beaten up space, but if you're going to catch a bounce, why not try to catch a bounce in the quality ones? So many people will look at a downtrend like, well, if they're going to bounce, let's go for the one that has the most room to come back into the upside. I feel like that's one of the biggest mistakes traders make, is you've got a group that has a chance to rally, just go get the best looking chart and the best looking company instead of trying to pick the absolute bottom. It's down there for a reason. I think it's a perfect example in that solar space. Andrew, we have some questions from the chat that I want to make sure every time you're on, we always get some questions
from the chat. So let's run it.
I want to throw you with Derek because she has some questions from the chat for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see some in the chat. If anyone has any, definitely let us know. And please tag either of us. One question I have, Andrew, is I know because you're really big on seasonality here, one thing too that is certainly of note here and that is a little bit different for this season is the fact that we do have the inauguration on January 20th. I was reading this could be a pretty big thing for crypto to be on watch for. Are there any crypto names or are there any stocks in general that you're watching for the election, or are you kind of not paying that much attention to that January 20th?
So as far as the inauguration, this will be something you want to pay attention to, but not necessarily how you think about it. So one thing that I like to talk about is dollar-sensitive names. These type of names are really going to be on watch, so gold, commodities, things like that. But what you want to understand is that the trade for Trump's inauguration was actually back when he won the election. So it would have been back in November 5th that you saw that huge gap overnight. You saw Goldman Sachs. You saw the big banks already get the rotation. That, of course, is front-running that Trump, of course, course, is going to be less restrictive on big banks, deregulation, things kind of like that. So those are the expectations set in the market. And what you want to actually watch for is not because Trump is now in office, things change, but what of those policies, of those expectations, is there signs that he is going to be less restrictive on things like banks? If not, you're actually going to see a lot of those start to slump. And that is because, again, the trade is always to front run the news. And so what you actually want to watch is a key sector here is solar. We'll mention this again, but solar sold off immediately after Trump won the election. And the markets set a premise that they think Trump is going to be harsh on solars, that he's actually going to be more restrictive on them. However, you can see now that the markets are consolidating back, go draw a line to where Trump was elected, where ENPH sold off. You'll notice that we are right at that level again. So markets right now are hinting that they might be anticipating that Trump is going to be less restrictive on solars than actually first priced in. So that mispricing right there is an opportunity to go long. That's what I would say. Look for those expectations, of course, with big banks. Crypto, of course, the expectation was to be deregulatory. If they run into any stumbles, things like that, that's going to cause a big sell-off because, again, everyone front-run this idea anticipating a smooth ride, and if they don't get it, they're going to sell.
Yeah, I think that's...
Thank you for going over that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andrew. There was another question. I think I saw someone in there saying, I know you kind of already covered this, you like Enphase. They said Sunrun or Enphase. And I just, well, I mean, I don't, like, Run has a quintuple or whatever. I haven't counted how many times it's touched this low.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 times. So 7 times it's touched this bottom on the daily, and it's got a 25% short float. So I get it. I get the impetus on things like this. But I know you mentioned you like Enphase a little bit better there. There was something else I wanted to ask you about because it came back to Intuitive or LUNR, I should say. Because we talk tickers here. Most of the time we see a company's name and everyone's like, what are you talking about? No, so
Intuitive Machines, yeah.
Yeah. What is Intuitive Machines? No, it's a LUNR. So you're out of this stock, you bagged your win, but when I look at this, it's in a pretty unabated upward trend. So yeah, you've already made the win on it, but I kind of figure, like, what's next for it? Because you can say what you want about, you know, whether you make money or not, this company not making money just yet, and maybe not in the right environment to be extending yourself on this. But every single time it's made a new high, it's pulled back into the 50 period. You don't see this happen all the time, and this obviously, it's pulled back into the 50 period and then just done it again. So I'm kind of thinking you've got to be looking for some dips and kind of stick to what's working. I know we saw that a lot in the last 2 years, and obviously 2025 is going to be a different year. But we've seen when this theme happens, where you've got a parabolic mover that's respecting the dip, get it out, but make sure you're ready to get it back in. Now, is this a time-based thing? Like you said, you're waiting maybe a couple of months into the year, or would you look at some technicals and respect that 50 period, which looks like gold?
So it's a little bit of both, but I'll give you a perspective from a equity perspective, but also an options perspective.
Okay.
So in my perspective of trading options, what I did here was I bought January 3rd calls just a few weeks ago, as well as January 17th. I added to the January 17th as it worked out in my favor. The idea is that I'm going to leverage time in my favor as it continues to work out. Now, here's the thing from an options perspective. You almost have to not care where it's going to go. You have to look at time till expiration. As you get closer to expiration, theta decay gets higher, your premium crush gets higher. So any move against you is going to be much more punishing, even though you're in the money or something like that. So you have to consider that. And so from my perspective, I sold my January 3 outright, and I just held some of my January 17th. So from an options perspective, you have to not look at it necessarily from what is the stock going to do, but you have to understand what can the stock do that doesn't take my position into greater risk. And so as the implied volatility increases, it moves 14% a day, you're going to be paid less for those 14% day moves. So the risk reward is just diminishing the higher it goes. But from an equity perspective, you don't get that. So what you do is you actually hold for momentum. Momentum is the king of everything. For all you technical traders who draw supply demand zones on your chart, the supply and demand zones really are only there as checkpoints. If a momentum is strong enough into a zone, it will break that zone. If you gap above that zone, it will use that zone now as support or whatever. So momentum is king, and it validates or invalidates zones. So from a technical perspective, you will and should hold this trade, because if you don't, and this goes up another 20%, well, guess what? You missed out on a 70% move from 13, 14, where we're talking about it. So you have to hold this because you get the benefit of time. So definitely be a dip buyer on it. If you do see a correction in these names, just know that you want to anticipate ABCs. So always anticipate an Elliott wave cycle, which means you get the initial drop back, you don't buy the dip there, but you wait for that dead cat bounce, and then you wait for that new low. And on that new low, if there is strength back to that B high of that ABC correction down, that's where you can take a good risk to reward long. But again, just looking for those things, being patient. You guys have to understand that this is a time in the market where raising capital is better. I've dropped all my position sizes. You can see from the market right now, it's a nothing burger. I mean, we opened the week, we went down, bears got baited in, then we pumped back up. We're all at 590, right? We started the week at 590. Here we are again, and that's the theme of January. So, yeah.
I tend to agree. It's like this year, I feel like what are the chances we have back-to-back 20%? You know, I can see the NASDAQ do that. A third, probably not going to happen for the third time. But what I do think it will be true is you'll have more volatility, but less of a move on when we come to year end, which does mean you have to be more nimble. What I appreciate about, and kind of why I asked that question, what I appreciate about this is, hey, I'm not an options trader, and I think we say this all the time. We stay in our lanes. I can analyze the chart. I can talk about what I would do with LUNR, but it's incumbent in why we bring you on, and for all the viewers out there, why we have guests like Andrew in here is when you've got those options questions, I want you to be able to come in and get that knowledge from Andrew, and that's why we'll hopefully continue to continuously have you on the show. But we did get a super chat, so I have to throw another question at you.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's from Rohit Sharma. Thank you, Rohit. Andrew, views on XLE, please. Even with a please at the end.
Sure. So XLE, while I do think that this is going to be more bullish heading into and through the inauguration, as we mentioned, but again, the trade here is energy is extremely beaten down into this inauguration. So now that you're seeing 3 days in a row where we've gapped up, you have to understand that this is a pretty big velocity increase in energy, but I do not think it is going to be the macro bottom yet. You're going to have to wait till after the 10th. I think next week you get some pretty ugly action, but I would not rush into any trades for XLE yet. I think the 10th is the better timing. Again, I could show the orders, but I'll say this. From what I saw this week, there were several orders within the individual quotes. So we call this option flow. Several orders which I categorize as hedge orders. These very high contract trades with high premium, aggressive, they tend to actually suppress price. So they were placed on XLE, and they're likely an indication that you will actually see a reversal of some sort, a consolidation of some sort. So even though we have rocketed off this low, I think it's best to wait because the first leg of, let's call it a 5-wave cycle, is not necessarily the trade. You want to be in the second to third wave, as the third leg is a lot more violent and will pay you much, much quicker. So I would say hold off on XLE.
Great look there. Appreciate the answer. You know, I have a personal beef with XLE. It's that, so like the XL, like it's maybe like a small one. It's so much just like oil. Like you get nothing when Vistra and Constellation are going ham. You get nothing out of that. You got to go over to the utilities ETF. Yeah. So I don't know, like I feel like, and I'm probably just missing something, and I'm actually going to probably look for this over the weekend. Like there has to be an ETF that encompasses both those energy utilities and the things that I like about XLE, because it is frustrating to see what's going on in Vistra and CEG and be like, well, then how come you get this ETF, and why are we not going to be able to take that benefit? It would make some logical sense to me.
It is an extremely crowded trade, and what I always tell people is you don't want to be in, especially times like this where there are big consolidations. Again, January, guys, is expected to consolidate at least past the 10th into the late month. You're expecting bearish action most of the month, but that doesn't mean just straight down. But when you expect this kind of consolidation, this period of unwinding from the last quad witching from the last year, people positioning into new names like energy, especially with Trump coming into office, especially with this war news expected to resolve, things like that, there's going to be a lot of headlines. And energy can, within just 1 or 2 days, kick off a 14-day green streak easily. But betting on that is not a trade idea. And so you have to understand that if I'm going to trade this, or I need to have some data behind it that actually gives me edge. And knowing that Trump is coming into office is not edge. Everyone knows that, guys. So you have to understand what is going to make energy go up. And you might think, oh, well, Trump's going to come in and do all these things. But what happens when you have a tricky Congress or something like this? So you really have to look and give it more time than you think and let it play out. So I would say past the 10th, it might be a good look to start going long, but I wouldn't rush into it till then. You might see a run up into the inauguration. So the 10th to the 20th, you might see a nice run up in energy and anticipation. But again, like I said earlier, front running is always the trade. If Trump gets elected and he doesn't do anything in the first week about energy, you're probably going to get some people that are concerned, and especially with Buffett getting all this stuff, it's a crowded trade. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I had a very good friend of mine who, when Obama won, he was very all in a small healthcare company that was going to be big with Obamacare. And let's just say that the follow through didn't work, and he didn't take. He didn't take the profit. It's one of those.
Obama did not take care of him. No, yeah.
No, it didn't work out, and that's, and to your point, it does matter. Not to chuckle about it, I can laugh about it because the guy bought a bunch of ETH at a very, very cheap price. So it kind of doesn't matter to him, but it was at the time, we were like, oh goodness, that was really bad for you.
Yeah.
But Andrew, I just want to thank you for popping on, not just for coming on and answering questions and dropping a lot of knowledge, but as you just said, hey, you're at the airport and you still managed to come on and give some knowledge to the viewers. So I want to especially thank you for that. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's I'm glad I got to, Raidernauts up in space, private rockets, we're just living that luxurious life right now, guys, so.
As you should be. So safe travels, of course. Safe travels back home, and enjoy time with the family. We'll definitely be talking to you hopefully next week as usual. Best of luck with all of your trading, and thank you for popping on here, Andrew Raider. Raider Trader himself. Thank you very much.
Most handsome Neo in the world, by the way, right here, guys. Make sure you subscribe just because of that.
Oh, stop buttering me up. We all know that's not true.
Step aside, Neil Cash Curry.
It's not me they thirst over, Andrew. You're the young man over there. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, see you guys.
All right, take care. Yeah. So there it is. That seems way too.
That seemed loud even for me.
Yeah, that was louder than normal. I feel like it is what it is. But we only look. It's the end. It's the end of the first trading week. Although it feels so strange to me because yesterday felt like a Monday, and now you're already at the end of the week. Like I feel like I have a week worth of trading that I want to do. It's a weird thing because when was the last time we had a 5-day trading week, and we're not even going to get one next week. It blows my mind. It's just I'm out of sorts.
After we also don't have one.
It's just short week after short week after short week, which is frustrating in a good market. But you know what? We're going to be here for you guys anyways. And you know what we got going on to end your week? We got a little roll call action. So obviously, anybody that doesn't know by now, Dara's going to drop a little roll call for you. If you want your name read off in the chat, then what you got to do is be in the chat first of all. So hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It's a subs only chat. After you do that, give a big shout out to the entire team here. I always run down everybody very quickly. We talk about on the ones and twos, Fabian and Ramin. Ramin sitting there making sure we look and sound good. Andre on the socials. The Bash Brothers on the midday. Sharif and Joseph. Big shout out to Obi filling in for Sean. Sean will be back next week. We got Brendan off vacation. We got Adara dropping knowledge, trading knowledge, and news all day long. And a big shout out to both Andrew, our guest, and Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the business. With that, give your shout outs and let Adara take care of the roll call.
Yeah, thank you to everyone here. Neil just named them all, so he killed it there. Shout out to Andrew Musk as well. They're coming in from space. Celery 2, Gabriel Matthews, Bears versus Bulls. Thank you to everything you do. Matt Lynch, Cansado, Hurt Scrambler, Phil from the future, Celery 2, Scott Angel, Bristol, Darth Buddha, Aldana Trading, Felipe Lopez, Pino Bell, Marie L, Christmas, Pumpkin Latte, Bob S, Michael Spadafora, Eric McCampbell, Ronnie R, Down to Sky, Easy Media, Sir, there's a lot of R's and M's there. But shout out to you regardless. Shout out to Richard Cabeza, Juan, Raynor, Pineapple Undies, Carlos Briones, Derek Thompson, Coffee Care Team, Sebastian, Eden. I'll stop with that. And Mr. Thumbs Up, that's the last one I'm going to cut there. But we will see you see you on Monday. There's so many great trading opportunities to look at. Cough, cough, MSTR, cough, cough. So we have a lot to, I know I have a lot to journal on and reflect on from today because, oof. But then that's why there's always a new week and a new day. Exactly. I wish I could give this market and our trading community 4 thumbs up, but I only have 2. So Adara, thank you for that. You guys are fantastic. Make sure you rest up. I know it's a holiday shortened week this week and next week, but there is so much activity in this market and all the opportunities. We'll be right there for you. We are Trader TV Live. We'll see you Monday morning at 8:30. Have a good weekend.